We good? Call the meeting to order. Can I have a mover and a seconder to open the meeting? Councillor Potier, Councillor Framboise.
Moved by Councillor Potier and seconded by Councillor Laframboise. Be it resolved, the Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles hereby opens the regular meeting of Council at 6 p.m. on August 12, 2026.
All those in favor? Carried. All of council is present tonight. We would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Robinson Huron Treaty Territory, and the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Atikameksheng Anishinaabe. We also wish to recognize our neighboring community of Doki's First Nation. While we meet today, we would like to take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the lands we each call home. We do this to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility in improving relationships between nations and to improving our own understanding of local Indigenous people and their culture. Can I have a mover and a seconder to adopt the agenda? Councillor Loftus, Councillor Lachance.
Moved by Councillor Loftus and seconded by Councillor Lachance. Be it resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of Council held August 12, 2026 be adopted as presented.
All those in favor? Carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interest, Councillor Framboise.
None, Your Worship.
Councillor Loftus.
None, Your Worship.
Councillor Potier.
None, Your Worship.
Councillor Lachance.
None, Your Worship.
And none for myself. Any questions from the public other than your presentation?
As to
No.
the status of this municipality?
No, to an item on the agenda. No? Okay,
I
no?
haven't seen the agenda other than
Okay.
what we submitted.
All right, if you are interested, however, the agenda is at the back. Any announcements from council?
None.
No? All right. Therefore, at this point, we're going to move to item 3.1, presentation from Max and Cindy Maschke, emergency service and access. If you would mind sitting at the front desk, making sure that the mic is illuminated, and it is your time.
Yeah, thanks, council members, for your time and your service. Appreciate this. We have a cottage on Island B, in between Rockport and Victoria Lodge. We're getting a little concerned. We're getting older. There's no available emergency services to us from the island. Like, we're our own firemen. We're our own, shouldn't say police force, but we've had some issues with some of the rowdy neighbors, and we shouldn't have to handle this. Also, if there is an accident, and we did have an accident, the lady next to us, I don't know who here is a firefighter, but she got trapped between the rock trying to get her dog out. And I don't know if you know that story. The fire department wouldn't come out, but there were volunteers within the fire department that did come out, which is honorable. We've been up here 25 years, and we never really had much concern about it, but we're getting older, and we don't plan on selling our property. We enjoy, the nature aspect of being up here. It's a beautiful country, countryside, and we're just concerned with a lot of things. Taxes and access are another thing. We're considered a 3-season cottage, but we only get from May 24th to the closing of the lodges on Thanksgiving. So that doesn't give us 3 seasons, it should be, because once the lodge is closed, we have no access. And I know council has, proposed, or they're working on the Sawmill Creek as well. And we had a look at it. It's interesting, but I don't know, you can get your boat in, but I don't know if you can get your boat out, because the incline of the ramp, and it's gravel. Even a 4-wheel drive would have a hard time getting it out. but I don't know,
And there's no overnight parking.
yeah, and there is no parking.
And we don't drive up here to go in for the day and then leave at night. It's a
Okay.
5-hour drive and
Yeah.
we're not allowed to park there at night.
Yeah, and, yeah, I mean, it's inconvenient, like, that's way at the other end of the lake, that's, right by, West Arm. And we're at the other end of the lake. And we have a lot of other cottagers have the same issue, they're saying, the prices of docking are almost $900 for the summer. That's quite a bit, and, I don't know, we've approached the ministry to try to get lease so we could, we said, we'll clear the land, we'll look after it, but it took them a year to get back to us and they said, well, you're not a business, you're not gonna have a business enterprise, so we're not gonna allow it. And I remember the last time we were here, we asked the council, you're a corporation, you're corporate, you're technically a business. Can you go to bat for the islanders, to secure, Crown land? And, it's, everybody has access except for, the islanders. The islanders, we have to get in a boat, we have to pay. And plus the services, we're paying a lot of money for a seasonal access, and I know this is a small township and, resources are limited, I understand that. But I don't know what you can do for us and the islanders, like there's more than one of us. They've asked, that we come and speak to council and maybe we can get some sort of solution.
Okay. Is that it for the presentation?
Unless we can have a back and forth.
Well, normally the presentation, you explain the situation. Council then has a chance to ask questions.
Okay. Yeah.
The decision will not take place tonight, that, okay, let's,
No.
but that's something afterwards that we can
Yeah.
start thinking about and maybe down the road
Yeah,
look at.
we're not familiar with this process,
Okay.
It's, we just live our lives as best as we can and try to enjoy life. And, it's getting to the point where, somebody has to help the islanders,
You said that there were others. How many others that, do you represent tonight?
Well, there's probably 12. I don't have their names.
No, but 12 individuals or 12 camps?
Well, they all own camps.
12 camps.
Yeah, and we approached everybody from Muskie Bay Association. They're packed. They've got a waiting list, and there's 412 Lake Road, which apparently is a ministry Crown operation.
I see that, yes.
Yeah, but I don't know who to get in contact with. Every time we come here, there's nobody around. Everybody's parked and they're at their camp.
Okay.
And this has been 25 years. When we first, purchased the property, it was reasonable. Jerry and Irene from Victoria Lodge. I don't know if you know them.
Yeah.
They were paid $150 for the season. And the bracket creep has gone up to $850. Where we are launching from, and
And it's limited where we can launch from because all the camps
Yeah.
they give it to the campers first, the docks.
yeah.
So we have to.
We get shut out sometimes. And where do we go? Like we have to launch the boat each and every time, and then you have to pay, for a fee for parking daily, and it adds up. And I think we should have the privilege of having access to our cottage as well as the other islanders.
Okay. Any questions, Councillor Framboise?
Thanks for bringing this to our attention. I do agree, though. Is there information that we can share about?
The other group?
Yes, the ministry, or contacting the ministry so they can voice their opinion? Because like you said, it shouldn't only be that group, right?
We tried for a whole year. We had email going back and forth, and they're not the quickest to get back to you. And after, it was a little over a year, they said, no, we're not going to hand out any leases or access to Crown land. You're not a business. They want us to be a business to, so they apparently can collect taxes, I guess. And there's so much Crown land along the lakes. And we already said, look we'll, if you can secure it, we'll do the rest. We'll cut the trees, build the docks, and, so that everybody has a place to park,
Okay.
For the essential emergency, it's always been denied?
Yeah. We never knew that when, I was 40 years old and I didn't care about that. I just, we'll take care of things ourselves. But I'm getting older, and, God forbid something happens, she can't get me, drag me down to the boat, put me on the boat and bring me to shore. And it's an issue that, it may be a liability for the township, I don't know.
Yeah,
You could speak to your legal department.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just curious about that situation, because there's the firemen and there's the police, right? So
Yeah.
The police, I believe, they should
they
be,
should be able to
To what?
They have boats.
attend. Like if there's something, I'm pretty sure they have a boat, they should be able to attend.
I wish I could see it more, because there's a lot of people that I don't know how they got their boating license.
Oh, I know.
They're
It's
they're a
scary.
hazard. They don't listen to
Yeah.
the wake. The speed limit through the channels, paddle boarders and canoers. Like these guys are it's really, there's no courtesy.
yeah.
I know the police can't be everywhere.
But
Yeah.
if you're talking about strictly police, they work on data. So if you can say Friday evenings, that's when it gets worse. That's when about from 6 to 8 on Friday nights, or on weekends.
There's no
If you can
particular
give them a bit more statistical information, then they start. But just saying, oh, I need to have it policed, and they're not gonna start sending.
Yeah.
So you have to give them a little bit of data, if you can.
Yeah, I don't want to play cop.
No.
I understand human nature. Everybody wants to have fun out in the water, but some people will have to be taken by the scruff of the neck, because they, it's their play time. They come up here, and I don't want to play police officer.
Okay.
'Cause who knows who's going to
You
take
just
out
have to-
retribution or
You say collect data,
Yeah.
that's all.
yeah.
But that's how, even for us, that's how they work. Any other questions?
No, I was just concerned about the emergency services, like if there is an emergency, I'm pretty sure they should attend.
Yep.
Police, fire department. I think we'd have to look into it, because I don't think they have a boat.
We have no
or-
boat, no.
Yeah, well, even the firemen don't have a boat, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I know, if they had a nice big pontoon with a pump on it. Well, somebody, there was a cottage or a camp that burnt down on Muskie Island this winter. Was that not true? I heard that.
I'm not sure.
Now that, was the fire chief, he's coming in the door in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
not sure about that one,
Yeah.
We'd have to bring a report back to council.
That was over the
So-
winter time, though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Councillor Loftus, any questions from you?
No, I think that it's important that we look into the emergency services to see exactly what can and cannot be done
Yeah.
from our side. And as far as access, I know that 412, that was provided by the M&R years ago,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they cleared out their spots, and they have each 2 spots each. There's, they're on Oak Island, I believe. It's
The
right
peop-
across?
Yeah, it services Oak Island, or
Yes.
Is it Oak Island or Muskrat?
I believe it's Oak,
Oak.
yeah, it's Oak, 412 is connected right
Yeah.
across from, yeah.
Do you know if there's anything available there?
There was some property that was like bush, but I'm not 100% sure. But I do know that there's, I believe, 6 people that live on Oak Island
Yeah.
that have their specific spots that nobody's allowed to park. They have their names on it, they maintain that area.
But could you give us their name, I mean, you know, who's presiding over that lease? Do you know who that
See,
is?
I'm not sure if it's a lease or if it was given by M&R. You'd have to, I don't know, Denise.
It's an M&R lease.
It is a lease?
And you can contact the M&R. Unfortunately, we cannot give out the names of the people.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. 'Cause
But
you don't know how to
you gotta
contact.
find, maybe talk to the neighbors. They may have their phone numbers in case of emergencies, but unfortunately, we cannot give out names of
Yeah, okay.
individuals.
So it wouldn't be in the registry or on the roll book?
The rule book is accessible for assessment information. The information would be there.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
It's,
Any questions, Councillor Petit?
No, thanks for bringing it to our attention. I think, you know, like council said already, it'll have to be assessed and see, because I know, I don't know what French River also offers, because I know we have mutual aid agreements and stuff like that with neighboring municipalities, but it's just whether or not that's within, within the realm of possibilities, so
Mhm.
that's all.
Okay.
yeah, I mean, you know, we are taxpayers, and, I mean, I don't know what the obligation is of council to, you know, service, you know, the taxpayers. Everybody on land, they have access, you know. The cottagers don't, we have to pay for it.
Yeah, there's pluses and minuses to both locations, like,
Yeah.
you've got a bit more isolation, but with that comes the extra burden of getting to it, and it makes it difficult for some of the emergency services to make their way to you. That is a fact of the way things are. Councillor Lachance, any questions?
On the island that which your cottage is, is there a large vacant area on there?
On our island?
Mhm.
You know, it's a 5-acre island shaped like a peanut. There's 5 cottages on there. We're right across from, it used to be Northland Lodge.
Okay.
I'm not sure if anybody's familiar with Northland Lodge.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's, they either have to go to the lodge, you know, to secure a dock, or to go into town, you have your car there, and, you know, but it's getting expensive, you know. Like $850 for 4 months.
I was just thinking as far as like emergency services, and there's no way of having a helicopter land there regardless for
Oh, no.
for
no.
RLF, right?
Yeah. Well, the one neighbor, he was from Cleveland, and he was a helicopter pilot, and he flew up here the one time, and he landed on a rock about maybe the size of the, you know, maybe 12 by 12. But
But on
I
our
know.
island, there's no cleared
that's what I mean.
spot.
Like if there was a spot large enough that you could
Oh,
even have
but-
Orange come out and do an assessment to see.
Oh,
if
yeah,
there's
they're
already
huge.
land, then it's
Yeah,
not-
those helicopters are
It's not
huge.
enough, that's what I was asking.
Yeah.
I know at,
Unless they
up
have
Victoria-
floats.
Yeah. Victoria, I know there's Crown land, when you go into Victoria, past Victoria Lodge on the left-hand side, I know there's a chunk of Crown land there that,
That is the Muskie Island Association that has that M&R lease.
There's
no,
also,
but there's a chunk of undeveloped Crown land. I'm talking about on the
Sorry.
left-hand side.
Oh, yeah,
Victoria
sorry.
Lodge Road, on Victoria Road, and I know of a person that tried to purchase it privately from the ministry and it was not successful for similar reasons. I wonder if that's maybe, it's one of the pieces of ground that I know of that would be serviceable for the area. So maybe we just reach out to the ministry and see just have an ear out if there's any ground land. I think that one's still available. I don't think they're successful in purchasing it. I think it's still there, so, just, for Goatee.
Yep.
For Bird's property. behind
Yep.
there.
I know there's, yeah.
Yeah.
So there are pieces of Crown land around.
Oh, right beside the playing lot.
There's also a Crown land right beside Beaver Pool.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think finding we're all in agreement there are chunks of Crown land that should be available, and maybe leaving it with us to see if we can make an initial contact with them to see if we make contact, if it makes a big difference. But you already received your response, so maybe we'll see if, but like you stated, they don't respond any quicker for us as.
And
just
neither
as-
does
as
Impact.
It falls in line with our official plan, with
Yeah.
having access to water. It is
Yeah.
part of our official plan that we went through and we
So-
developed already, so it's not something that's far-fetched.
No,
Just as far as emergency services, like, I'm not gonna say it won't happen, but I don't see in the near future a fire department having a barge purchased to be able to service the islands for, you know,
No.
it's not something that we're,
No, I know.
unless the cottagers wanted to, the islanders, wanted to donate a fire barge or something, then we could probably get the people to run it, but it's,
Would the government not give you a grant for something like for emergency vehicle, like, you know, I've seen pontoon boats, you know, 24 footers, 30 footers.
the grants don't apply
No.
to fire apparatuses typically, and that's what we've seen now already in the past where we tried to
We tried.
put grant money towards apparatus, and that's not something that's covered in the grants that we
Yeah.
receive.
Yeah.
No.
But I mean, and it does sound like you're excluding the islanders, you know.
Not trying
And that may
to
be a
exclude,
concern, like-
not trying to exclude the islanders, I'm just saying that as far as purchasing a vessel to service, because we have some people that live on land
Yep.
that have private bridges that our fire trucks cannot cross because they're not maintained to the standard. So it's not excluding the islanders, it's just, we do everything that's possible, that within our power to do it, but
Yeah.
that we can't, our budget isn't unlimited,
No,
we can't
no,
get,
no.
the
Yeah.
water bombers and stuff, but
No.
that's,
If I, through your worship, make a
Yes.
comment, at least from the fire perspective. So, from our perspective, a fire response to the island is not a realistic response that is going to change an outcome. If there's a person in the structure, we're not getting to the island in time to save a life. That's a factor of volunteer fire department, distance, compounded by water. So that's the first thing, right? Second thing is, you know, when it comes to access, you've got water access in the summer, you've got the shoulder seasons when you've got slush or whatnot, and then you've got ice in the winter. So you really have to look at, we're talking about 2 or 3 different means to physically access. You're talking an airboat or a boat in the summer, you're talking snowmobiles or a tracked 4-wheeler in the winter, with a whole slew of protocols beyond that. So there's the capital piece, which is large, but beyond the capital piece, there is the annual certification requirements to run a commercial vessel in alignment with Transport Canada, because you are subject to the same requirements as a fire department running a boat, as if you are a commercial vessel operating on Lake Ontario, big freighter on the ocean. The training requirements are essentially the same. So in a large department, City of Toronto, City of Sudbury, North Bay, whatnot, where you don't have turnover, you have full-time people, it makes sense. For us, you're talking, I'm shooting a little bit from the hip here, you're shooting $15,000 to $20,000 per person to get them certified every other year to maintain a certification to operate a vessel. So for us, because we can't limit who operates the vessel, you're looking at $400,000 every 2 years just in certification costs to put somebody on the water to get over to the island. So from my seat, that's not a tenable
Yeah.
cost to spend on a boat. So I understand what you're saying, but it's not realistic, and there's a reason why.
Well, it's monetary. It's,
Yeah.
no, I understand
100%.
that.
So,
Yeah,
I mean,
Thanks a
we're,
lot.
we're only a 3-season cottage.
yeah,
And I mean, once winter comes, like, we can't get across. You
All right.
know, it's like you said, there's slush and there's,
yep.
you know, the access is, you know,
Uh,
I understand that.
yeah, so, thank you very much for the presentation. We've taken notes, we're gonna see if we can be of any assistance with a discussion with M&R, see if they work better with us in the mix. Like we stated, they don't respond necessarily quickly, any more quickly for us, so it's not in a week or two that you're gonna be receiving
Oh,
a
no,
call.
I know.
So.
Well, it was
but-
6 years, Paul, since I was last here. We were talking about the same things.
I know, but now we're gonna take officially a look at it, see if we can like, we do have a little bit of a contact, but
Yeah. No,
we'll have to see, all right?
I understand. You know, we understand that
All right,
it's a small township, resources
Exactly.
are limited. And I mean, you know, I feel your pain,
yeah,
you know. It was just the same last time we were here. There was an election the next week.
well, there we
So
go,
nothing got settled or looked at, and
all right, well, we're coming to an election again. You seem
Yeah.
to be planning your,
know,
your.
they're all
your-
kissing babies down our way and shaking hands, and
All
that's the only time you see them.
Yeah, okay, all right, thank you very much
Councillors,
for your
thanks very much for
presentation.
your attention, appreciate it. You know, thanks for your service.
All right, thank you very much. Have a
a good
great
night.
day.
Okay, take care.
Okay, bye. Okay, next item 411, report to council, fire chief cost recovery.
Good evening,
James.
everybody. You've got the report in front of you. I hope you all had the chance to review it. So this was something that came up probably about 8 or 9 months ago in sort of transient conversation. So we wanted to bring that back to formalize the conversation and get some direction from council in terms of the direction we want to take on cost recovery within the fire service. So the report outlines two sort of different options for council to consider. Obviously, we're open to a third option if council has one. But essentially, right now, the way the department operates is through our establishing regulating bylaw. We have the authority and we have a process to recover eligible costs for fire service through a internal municipal invoice to the property owner, or in the case of a motor vehicle collision on the Kings Highway, we can bill the Ministry of Transportation directly. Essentially, our process is pretty straightforward. We issue the bill after all the reporting is done. They have 30 days. After 30 days, there's the opportunity for interest to accrue. As far as I know, we've never ever actually charged somebody interest, because at the end of the day, we're not trying to nickel and dime somebody who's just gone through a fairly significant loss. And then within the context of the establishing and regulating bylaw, after 90 days, those amounts could be applied to their property taxes. Again, same thing, to the best of my knowledge, we've never done that. But the language is contained within the bylaw to do it. And part of the reason we've never really pursued this with a lot of aggression was because we didn't really get a clear direction from council in terms of where to go, how far we want to push this. There was some talk about we shouldn't bill at all. There was some talk about we should just get whatever insurance is going to provide. There was talk of doesn't matter. This is what the bill is. This is what the bill is. And so here we go. So again, like, our intent with bringing this back to council is not to create some sort of financial hardship or an undue financial burden on the ratepayers. However, it is designed to establish a fair, transparent, and consistent process to apply across the board in an attempt to offset some level of cost to the fire department specifically looking at, you know, the large capital expenses that are associated with running a department such as this. So regardless of the decision that's made or the direction that's given, this does not impact the fire department's decision to respond, right? So 911 pages us out. We're not looking at this going, oh, can this person pay the bill? No, they're getting the full service whether we recover anything or not. So we've got two kind of approaches that we think are fair to consider. So option one is municipal administration. This process essentially stays the same as it is now. Under this approach, there are sort of five pieces that I would be looking specifically to get council's input on as we finalize this. So we'd be looking for information or for your opinions on whether invoices should be submitted to insurance providers, whether coverage exists. That one's a pretty straightforward one. Whether recovery from individual residents should be limited to the amounts paid by insurance, meaning whatever the insurance company gives that's the end of it. Any unpaid balances should be pursued against the individuals, regardless of insurance coverage. Whether recovery efforts should focus primarily on non-residents, motor vehicle collisions, false alarms, negligence, or preventable incidents, and under circumstances, and the circumstances under which administration may recommend reducing, waiving, or deferring fees due to financial hardship in exceptional circumstances. So from my chair, this would potentially give council the greatest degree of local control, because we would manage the entirety of the process from A to B. However, it does require staff to be the ones administering the entire process, from invoicings, collections, account management, management of debt, chasing down taxpayers for unpaid balances, etc. So that's one option. Option two, and this is from my seat the recommended option or the preferred option, would be to go with a third-party insurance recovery specialist. In this case, Fire Marquee is really the kind of the only company operating in Ontario. So they are a third-party insurance recovery team, and all that they do is work for fire departments, work doing cost recovery after incidences. So under this model, we submit all of our paperwork to Fire Marquee. We include everything from number of vehicles, number of personnel, how many hose lines got burned up, how many jugs of foam we used, did we melt a nozzle, did we burn holes in bunker gear, everything. We send the entire package down to Fire Marquee, and they administer the entire claims process. They work with the insurance companies, and then they write us a check, and we're completely hands-off. So they remit whatever they recover. So if, let's say we send them enough to come up with a $25,000 bill, they recover $10,000, they write us a check for $10,000. They maintain a small portion to obviously cover their costs, but we're never into we're sending them a bill for 25 and maybe we don't know what. We send them all the information, they take care of it, we get a check. That's the end of the story with them. So so this option would reduce the administrative workload and improve the insurance coverage rates, while limiting the direct interaction between municipal staff and the affected property owners. You as council probably should consider whether this model better aligns with municipalities' administrative capacity, as well as the desired customer service approach. In this model, it really eliminates the staff and ratepayer conversation and moves that conversation to a recovery specialist insurance company, and we all kind of stay up. That's generally how this model works. In terms of scope, Fire Marquee, I believe they're up to about 165 or 170 departments in Ontario that they work with. French River does use them very successfully. Killarney uses them very successfully. West Nipissing, City of Sudbury. So there is definitely precedent in the north to move to a model like that. But as I said, it is sort of up to council's discretion as to where we would go. Your worship, would you prefer to
Yeah.
discuss that and then move on to the
I
outstanding?
think so.
Okay.
So, the one with fire marquee, we're only talking about the insurance company. We do not talk about reclaiming any portion from individuals.
Correct.
That is correct. Okay. Any questions, comments regarding any of the two options?
No, you did a really well presentation, very clear, that I really understood. I am for the option 2. The only thing, like you mentioned, it's recommended to get a present. I would love, your details are very
Yeah.
good, but I'd like to see a presentation from them if we go
Okay.
ahead with option 2.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Loftus?
Yeah, I like the fact that option 2, it's a third party dealing with an individual, because it could be somebody that's very close to you.
Mhm.
In this community, everybody knows everybody, so this way here, it would keep everybody on good terms.
Okay. Councillor Petsy?
Yeah, no, it's pretty clear the direction that probably should be taken here. Do you, like, the percentage that they take, like, is that just like, 10% or 50% or, that's what I mean, right, is it?
Something in and around there, I don't wanna
Yeah.
quote, because it's been about
Okay,
7 or 8 months since
okay,
we actually had a conversation with them. So I'd like to just,
Yeah.
I want to get the direction before we start the presentation. I'll re-engage with them, tell them, ask them to come up for a presentation, and then, we'll have all that information pretty clear in there.
perfect. Yeah, cause otherwise, if the claim isn't successful, they don't seek,
Correct.
okay, any compensation otherwise. Alright, yeah, I'm in favor of that, and, yeah, I mean, it saves a lot of administrative work. I'm sure they have a pretty good setup of being able to submit that, so. Yeah,
They basically, we have a standard sort of boilerplate report that we fill out. We fill out that, we attach our standard incident report that we submit to the province, we submit the report I write to the homeowner, take it all, email it to them, and then I wait for something in the mail, whether it's a check or it's a letter saying we were not able to recover anything.
nice.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Lachance?
2 questions. Typically, what term of agreement are you seeing with them? Is it like a 3-year, 5-year, 10-year?
As far as I know, it's open.
Oh, okay. And the second one is if say we respond and the amount is astronomical, like $100,000, and Fire Marquee can't get us anything through the insurance, are we still able to go and try to collect on our own after that? Because, again, for smaller stuff, like I understand, but at the same time, if there is a fire that someone had an illegal building that wasn't insured, operating a business from or something like that, for example, I know it's extreme, but I feel that in a circumstance like that, it would still be nice if we were able to go and try to reclaim some costs.
I think that'd be a question for the clerk or the CAO, but off the top of my head, I imagine it would come down to how we worded it in our establishing and regulating bylaw.
Yeah.
Like if I don't disagree. It sounds like a great option for option 2. I just wouldn't want to handcuff ourselves that we can't pursue if we're not happy with the outcome from what they've.
If you may, I think this would limit for insurance, but if we decide or we have procedures or policies that would state in the situation where there's a building that wasn't illegally wired, didn't go through building inspection and there was a major fire, that we could
Like say
go after the individual.
fire truck
possibly.
was parked there, and then it also caught fire. I know we have our own insurance and stuff for that, but
Yeah,
it's
but-
just I wouldn't want to, because he said if there in the presentation it's either we get a check back or we get nothing. So if the answer is we get nothing, I want to make sure we're still able to go and pursue farther if we had to on our own.
That's a question we could ask them during their presentation also.
I think they would definitely be the ones to answer that question, because that's the world that they work in.
Yeah, just again, in the agreement with them, like say, well, if we're not limited to using them, but, so, yeah.
Okay, so we're ready to listen to a presentation from them, and I think it does look like an interesting option to look at.
Okay, I will aim for the committee meeting in September, no promises, but I'll reach out to them, I'll send them a note tonight and see if we can set something up quickly,
Okay,
and we'll go from there.
next item.
So this ties in with what we were just talking about. So council is requested to provide direction to the treasurer and myself regarding outstanding fire service invoices issued during 2025. So we reviewed the municipality's records and identified the following outstanding balances. In 2024, we have $5,646.88 outstanding. I do have a little notation just below that. 4478 of that is just an internal accounting transfer. So really, we're looking at about $1,200 that is truly
24, yeah.
outstanding. Okay. In 2025, there is a significant change to $46,923.50. And so the outstanding accounts include a variety of different categories of response. There are a couple major structure fires in there that as of yet have not been recovered. And one of those is in the amount of about $25,000, so that accounts for give or take half of that number. There are vehicle and equipment fire responses in there. There are automatic aid responses to neighboring municipalities that roll over beyond the contracted amount that have not been recovered, despite both the treasurers and my own attempts. And then there's also, there's that internal municipal charge. So these accounts vary considerably. Obviously, we've got some accounts at 25,000, and we've got some accounts that are 300-400. So some represent invoices that we would typically expect to recover through insurance or from another public agency, while others are from residents who have experienced a significant property loss, large scale or prolonged responses. Whether they have insurance or not is obviously a piece that we don't know beyond they tell us, yes, we have insurance and we've submitted it to insurance. That's the extent that we were aware. So options at this point include continuing collection efforts in accordance with our current establishing and regulating bylaw, limit the collection efforts to available insurance proceeds and discontinue recovery of any uninsured balances. That option would include writing off uninsured balances as bad debt to ensure that fire service fee revenues and receivables are accurately reflected in the appropriate fiscal year-end statements. Otherwise, there's going to be some weird things happening to the numbers. Or option C, provide alternate direction, understanding that the treasurer and myself, we're not collection specialists. We're not really equipped to be chasing people down for money. So I would encourage council that, whatever direction we apply for past debts, we want to give consideration to how we're moving forward. Obviously, it sounds like the fire marquee is the way we're moving forward. So we're looking for direction from the council on those outstanding accounts.
I have a simple question. Would Fire Marquee be ready to take on these past debts?
I don't know.
Maybe that's a question we can add to them. Especially those that you stated had insurance options in there, that like vehicle fires for sure. And that's just something I'm thinking about.
Yeah, I was curious about that too. I'm just curious also, was there any past debts past 2024, and how did you guys deal with that past?
Pre-2024, we really weren't charging for anything. End of 2023 is when we redid the establishing and regulating bylaw. And prior to that, the language really wasn't permissive to do cost recovery, nor was the provincial legislation really there to support cost recovery. So prior to 24, we billed really only the Ministry of Transportation, and they always paid their debts. So really, starting 2024 is when we actually started doing cost recovery, and that's why we're seeing this now.
I'd be curious to see if they'd be willing to take this on. If not,
Look at it again.
I'd like to see also, like, I know you're mentioning like you did mention like the one fire structure being half, but I'd be curious to see like if you can separate them all in their own, like if it's a vehicle, how much was it, and so I'm just curious to see when.
Give me 60 seconds. Oh, look at that. There you go, treasurer for the win. What is this? This is, do we know which is, what's 26?
So like 2024 would only be 1,200, is it one
Okay,
person?
let me see here.
Like the-
So, we've got $570 for a tractor fire. We've got
Sorry,
24,700.
are you, is that for 2024?
25.
I'm gonna say that's 25. We've got $24,768 for a structure fire. We've got $10,000 for a structure fire. We've got $3,500 for a structure fire. That's brand new, so we're not gonna include that one. Structure fire. That's a structure fire. It's all fires.
So pretty much 2025 is structure fire.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got
One vehicle.
five structure fires and one tractor, and then one that's brand new. So it's not, we're not gonna include that in this conversation. So it's all structure fires.
And in 2024, we only have $1,200, right?
Yeah, that's one of those structure fires. It's $1,168.
So are we allowed to ask, like he said, for insurance purposes? Like, are we?
In which sense?
Well, if they have insurance, then this should be,
Yeah.
we should be able to get
That-
a payout.
Well, I think that's where they're
I know.
falling short. They're not specialists in.
I know.
And that's why I think if we can ask, I don't see why Fire Marquee
Marquee
would not,
Couldn't go back.
because they're gonna get a share of it anyhow, so. For the ones that
I was
have
just curious, because it's
insurance.
pretty much structure fire, because I think if it would be like vehicle, usually MTO or Ministry of Transportation gets involved, right?
If it's on the Kings Highway, we build the MTO.
Yeah,
And we've got nothing outstanding from the MTO. They're fully up to date.
Okay.
yeah. I'd like to ask the question to see if they would take over
Yeah.
these two.
All right. Councillor Loftus?
No, I agree. We can just maybe continue with our collection efforts until we get a presentation from the Fire Marquee to see whether they can take over the old debts.
Okay.
And to have them as a third party.
Thank you very much. Councillor Putzi?
So, like, obviously, and that's part of where the Fire Marquee kind of comes into play here, is because I guess part of this you would require to have to work with the homeowners and get their insurance information, and I guess that's all part of, I guess, fire fighting and law enforcement and stuff like that. So, has that been getting done in a sense, or I guess it's kind of difficult, right? It's a difficult topic to be approaching homeowners about that have just went through it. So,
It's not. I have zero problem with kind of having those conversations. So I have this conversation with every homeowner at the time of loss. So once everything is settled down, I sit down with them, we take all their information, explain to them, here's what happens next.
Yeah.
And we go through that, we work on a cost recovery basis. We're gonna provide you with the standard incident report, we're gonna provide you with a fire report, which is more of just a narrative from us. And we're gonna send you an invoice. You're gonna take all that information and you're gonna send it to your insurance company. And then if there's a problem, you're gonna call me.
Stops there.
And some people are very good and they do call. I have had, there is one name on this list that has communicated fairly well with us as they've gone through the insurance process, and we know that they're in a fight. And they've been very communicative. Not everybody is that way, and unfortunately I do try to follow up kind of at that 30-day mark and just say, hey, how are we doing? And usually the sort of boilerplate response is, we're working on it.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah,
That's
no,
usually where
that's
it
great.
ends.
Yeah, no, that's good. I didn't know quite what the process was for that, so that's good that, you know, it's, the effort's being made, it's just people aren't following up with it and stuff like that, so. Yeah, I'd be in favor of going with the route for the fire marquee and saying, I guess there would be a little bit of overlap in the work already kind of completed, because the insurance company's already been contacted for many of these, well, should have been contacted for some of these, because that's left to the homeowners at this point, right?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
The insurance company should have been contacted for anything up to present.
Yeah,
Um,
but that's where the fire marquee would step in and contact the insurance company themselves.
as a go forward, and
Yeah.
then if there is, you know, if they would be willing to pick up anything, however far back, I don't know,
Yeah.
then I'm sure that they would be able to reach out to the insurance companies directly and try to clean it up and get some information.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any questions, Councillor Chance?
I'm just thinking this, the way the bylaw works, we could go through our AMPS system to put the balance on the property tax to, those would be sent out, and that would at least encourage, those being billed to reach out, or maybe even as a delegation to council, and then have the conversation that way until, if fire marquee's not willing to look at it, because, like I said, regardless, at the end of the day, those who don't have insurance, whether it's not wanting it, not being able to afford it, that's a choice, and we still, you're burdening in the rest of the ratepayers for one person's decision. Like, I'm not taking the only empathy away from the fire and the loss, but it's just, to me, I still look at it as a business transaction, and we still have fiscal responsibilities, and that's where I'm at.
Yes.
So just to be aware, sometimes people do have insurance, but they have limits.
Mhm.
So even though they have insurance, they only allow so much for this type of, so there would still potentially be write-offs for certain things. So if Marquee does not go that way, and we choose to still take on this old debt, we'll need something on how do we determine what to write off. Do they come to council? Do they present certain documents saying that they've tried their insurance, and insurance is only willing to pay this much, so the rest is written off, or what the process is? But we'll probably have that conversation after we find out if Marquee can do it or not.
And that's what I'm saying, because we would, Chief McQuaid said, whatever we decide is what we should be going with as a standard. So I'm saying that for Fire Marquee being able to go and do their portion for the interval, but for those who haven't reached back out, to date, Fire Marquee wasn't involved. And I think this is just putting in a backup plan / again, if it was like $25,000 is a substantial amount for a call. Try to at least get something back from it. Because it doesn't mean that there was insurance, right? It just means that we haven't been paid for.
Okay. Dennis?
So I sat in the presentation where Fire Marquee presented to another council in the municipality. My information is a bit dated, but in all your individual insurance policy that you have, you can take a look at the total, and normally it's $1,000 or $2,000. And Fire Marquee at that time said they generally you rarely see more than $5,000 because they limit the coverage. So it may not be the cure to the bigger fines, but if you're responding to a tractor fire, you can probably cover that cost through the insurance. But the limits in your policies, you can take a look at your individual policies, so if you have a response. The other item, you may not be able to use the AMPS, but we can still put it on taxes, and maybe the treasurer can do some research to add the cost unpaid bills to the municipality. It may not be, the bank may come, like the mortgage could possibly be before that debt if they ever sell, but it is something that would be tied to the property to be collected in the future. So I'm sure that we can, as we move forward.
To all of our bylaws.
Yes, any outstanding amounts, we can charge back to and like put it on the tax bill. Except some costs, Water, we can collect before the bank. Maybe cleaning out the dishes, maybe not. You know what I mean? But definitely, I'm sure that we can prepare a report
Yeah.
in addition to Marquee to what are the powers of the municipality to collect that. And again, I don't know if you spoke to the lightning strike versus somebody deciding to burn the extra dry grass and spraying in the backyard. So,
But again, for those that haven't been reaching out or trying to rectify their debt, this would definitely be a little bit of an incentive for them to attempt to reach out and see
Yeah.
what they can do to rectify it. So, just thought.
I think once we have more information from Marquis and from staff as to what are the powers and whatnot, I think we'd be in a better position to make those final decisions. So,
Just because your insurance policy says $1,000 to $5,000 for the fire department, you're still getting more, I guess, you should get more than that, if they say a complete loss for home. If you're insured, you're still gonna get you might understand the intent is to rebuild your home, but your debt's your debts. If you owe money, get it back on the mortgage, they would collect first, and then the municipality would collect second for the fire,
Yeah.
the response, and then so on and so forth.
but if you receive insurance money for the reconstruction, the insurance money is for the reconstruction.
If you choose to rebuild.
Yeah,
Well, that's what I'm saying, at that
Yeah.
point, it's not the insurance company telling them how to spend the money, it's not the bank, if they're doing, so.
So it was the limit, sorry, just to clarify, it was the limit of Fire Marquee. It's like their job is, oh, we know you have intact, they know they carry a $5,000 coverage, you have a $7,000 bill, we're gonna send a $5,000 invoice to Intact, we're gonna recollect that money, we're gonna keep our percentage, we're gonna send the balance to the municipality like this, nobody. And the question is, what do we do with the portion that's missing?
yeah. And I think on those instances where all of a sudden it's 25,000, I think we'll have to think about it, do we put a cap on it, like, because I'm not sure what the situation was for that specific fire, that maybe it was a prolonged fire, took a long time, we needed some backups from another municipality, but that one seems to be, compared to all of the rest that you stated, quite a bit more. So,
Yeah, it certainly is an outlier. That fire was both big, requiring assistance from other departments, and it was prolonged. I think in total we were about 12 hours. So a bill that's that large is definitely the anomaly.
Yeah.
As it's not the norm. Structure fire bills, I think, anywhere in that 6 to 12 range is probably for, a structure fire that is, fully involved on arrival, I think is probably pretty normal.
mhm.
Obviously some may be smaller, there's a lot of factors to it, right? But I would
Yeah.
say that the $25,000 bill is definitely an anomaly, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So, we're gonna be receiving information from Fire Marquee, we're gonna receiving information from staff, and after we have all of the information, then we can make some decisions. But I hear what you're saying, if it's a bill, it's a bill, but I wouldn't want, because of us wanting to reclaim a 25, that oddity version, especially that odd one, that all of a sudden there is no build. So then we lose a property, we lose, that one would,
It's not, again, it's a tool to have them in here to have the discussion or
Yeah.
have some kind of an obligation or
maybe some, a percentage or some limits or something,
that we could discuss that too.
Yeah. okay?
Your worship, if I may, the only other comment I would have is that I would definitely oppose council if they were of the opinion that we should be calling ratepayers basically to stand in front of council and explain their financial situation as why they can't pay it. So I just want to that really, from where I sit, is really a kind of a non-starter, and I just would really want to make sure that that is said, and we don't go down that road, because that's a very
No.
bad
Okay.
road to go down.
All right, thank you very much. I think that was it for you? All right, thank you very much. Next item, is a report, 421, report to council OPP detachment, budget.
Okay, so we received our, the OPP detachment board that was created last year, finally did their budget, and they gave us our budget amount. At the time of budget, we didn't know what their budget was going to be like, so we were conservative and just increased it from 8,000 to 8,500. It actually came into $6,569.20. So it's under budget, so we just need to pass a resolution stating that we accept this budgeted amount and that it'll be shared between the 4 municipalities, and that's our portion.
Okay. Just to make people aware, the reason of the decrease is when they first created that first year budget, they had forecast everybody would be attending both conferences. The first conference, I think we were only 4, and nobody attended the second conference. So just a conference in itself, you're talking mileage, meals and whatnot, that in itself took away quite a bit of cost there. And I would imagine they still have some surplus from the first year. Okay. Therefore, can I have a mover and a seconder for the resolution? Councillor Laframboise, Councillor Potier.
Moved by Councillor Laframboise and seconded by Councillor Potier. Whereas pursuant to the Community Safety and Policing Act 2019, bracket CSPA, close bracket, section 71, bracket 1, an OPP detachment board shall prepare estimates in accordance with the regulations made by the minister of the total amount required to pay the expenses of the board's operation, excluding the remuneration of board members. And whereas pursuant to CSPA 2019, section 71, bracket 2, the OPP detachment board shall submit the estimates to every municipality that receives policing services from the detachment, along with a statement of the municipality's share of the costs as determined in accordance with the regulations made by the minister. And whereas pursuant to CSPA 2019, section 71, bracket 3, subject to subsection 4, the municipalities shall contribute their share of the costs to the OPP detachment board's budget in accordance with the estimates. And whereas pursuant to OREG 135/24, section 3, bracket 2, each municipality in the area for which the OPP detachment board has services shall pay an equal share of the amount set out in the board's estimates. And whereas the Sudbury East OPP detachment board has prepared estimates of all sums required for the operation of the board for the fiscal year 2026, totaling $26,276.80, to be shared equally among the participating municipalities. And whereas the total municipal contribution is allocated as follows: Municipality of French River, $6,569.20. Municipality of St. Charles, $6,569.20. Municipality of Marks-de Warren, $6,569.20. Municipality of Killarney, $6,569.20. Be it therefore resolved, the Council for the Municipality of St. Charles hereby 1. Approves the 2026 budget estimates for the Sudbury East OPP Detachment Board in the total amount of $26,276.80. 2. Confirms the municipality's obligation to contribute its equal share in the amount of $6,569.20 in accordance with OREG 135/24, section 3, bracket 2, and 3. Provides a copy of this resolution to the Sudbury East OPP Detachment Board for their records and implementation.
All those in favor? Carried. Next, item 431, report to council, Joint Compliance Audit Committee. Tammy.
So part of the election process is that by October the 1st of the election year, we have to appoint a joint compliance audit committee. The committee looks at and deals with any audit issues that arise out of the filing of financial statements from the municipal elections. For the past several years, the municipalities of French River, Marks-Day Warren, Killarney, West Nipissing, and St. Charles have appointed a joint committee, and it seems to have worked. Takes on one committee member from each municipality. So this is before council now to pass the bylaw to appoint the joint, or to adopt the joint compliance audit committee for 2026, as well as there's a resolution to reappoint Mr. Phil Belanger to the committee for the municipality of St. Charles. He's our current sitting member on that committee and has agreed to sit again.
All right, thank you very much. Nobody should have questions? No, all right. Therefore, can I have a mover and a seconder for the resolution? Councillor Loftus, Councillor Lachance?
Moved by Councillor Loftus and seconded by Councillor Lachance. Let's see. Whereas the municipalities of French River, Killarney, Marks-Day Warren, St. Charles, and West Nipissing have agreed to establish the 2026 Municipal Elections Joint Compliance Audit Committee, and whereas each respective municipality must appoint one volunteer member to said committee, be it therefore resolved that Council for the Corporation for the Municipality of St. Charles appoints the following member to the 2026 Municipal Elections Joint Compliance Audit Committee for the municipalities of French River, Killarney, Marks-Day Warren, St. Charles, and West Nipissing for the term commencing November 15th, 2026 and ending November 14th, 2030. Phil Belanger.
All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Next report, 432 report to council. Computers, just to put an exclamation mark on this one, my computer died today and is no longer functional. So I'm having to use my home one, so I have to send my emails that I want to have shared from my work account to my personal account so that I can open them up. So I know it's a particular interest for me. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's fine.
Who's it?
Mine.
Oh, it's yours. Okay, sorry.
So this is before council to approve the purchase of 5 ThinkPad laptops, I believe similar to what you have, from Encompass IT at a cost of $1,450 each, and that these funds be taken from the Safe Restart Fund. When we came to council at budget time, it was requested, $5,000 was requested for the replacement of computers. We were looking at replacing them with Surface tablets, and unfortunately, as you can see from the email I had with Encompass IT, the cost of the tablets is significantly higher than we expected. His recommendation then was to go with the laptops. Unfortunately, there's no provision in our cemetery bylaw to bury the mayor's current laptop, but we'll get rid of it somehow.
Okay, thank you very much.
So again, we had only budgeted $5,000. We are looking now more at like $7,500. So we're hoping that we can take this money from the Safe Restart Fund. I did inquire of the treasurer if that was a possibility, and she seems to think that that is fine. So.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any questions on this report?
None for myself.
No? Councilor Petit?
No.
Okay.
Just one, speaking to the laptops, like the one that I use seems to be in good shape. is this something that we have to commit to buying all 5 now? Or is the price better when we're buying 5, or can we buy one as we go?
I did have a discussion with Mark today. He did advise that the market prices for electronics is very volatile right now and increasing a lot. He did say, I did ask him if he could get me a new number for the laptops as of today. He did come back still with the 1450. He's put a hold on the 5 of them that are currently in stock, but he said he couldn't guarantee that actually past this week.
And these ones here would go on Gov Deals or something, or keep them internally, or?
I don't know that there's a policy in place but I guess it goes under the disposal of.
When we had our laptops, we were told at the end of the term
We'd have the
we'd have
opportunity.
the option to buy them.
I'm willing to
they're
give
not
it to
worth
Gov Deals, but
I think we gotta charge them full pulse for it.
So
Yes.
to add to the conversation, I did have a discussion with the treasurer about establishing a policy for such. We were debating setting a fee for wiping the hard drive, and we're going to bring back that policy to council. So ongoing, at the end of term, if you want to buy the computer, it would be a flat fee to be decided within the policy. So that is in the works. So if we do have the opportunity in the next month or so, we could bring it back, and this would give the chance at the end of term to buy out the computer when replaced with a new one. Because if they're still in fair shape, but there is a cost. Unfortunately, we have to wipe all municipal information from the drive. So there is that's the cost to be determined. I always wanted to limit a fee. We were looking maybe putting the actual cost of clearing the memories, but that could be a discussion at that point.
okay, thank you very much. So, are you good with that? Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to save some money there, but I guess,
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like it's doable.
All right, thank you very much. Next item, 441, library survey results. Denis.
Yes, Your Worship. At the request of council, a survey was circulated. We did get a very substantial, that I believe, response for this survey. There was 119 total surveys received. Again, we don't know if some were multiple for the same household or they represent a single household. It was noted that there was a few, we're talking a handful that were not St. Charles, but like Dupree Road. So they're still part of the community, but not the municipality. And again, as best as we could, we did, I had the summer student compile. She did a beautiful presentation within your package to break down the data. But from that information, the key points, the public appears to support maintaining and modernizing library services. That came out. And they do suggest that council should consider transitioning the library into a modern, multi-purpose community hub while minimizing operating costs by utilizing existing municipal facilities rather than constructing or maintaining a standalone building. And again, it's a bit hard to get the true feeling, but that would be the seemingly where we're going with this thing. So the key findings. The traditional library services to remain important. Residents are not asking council to reduce library services. Instead, they want those services delivered more efficiently and with additional programming. The second question, residents want library to become a community destination. And again, from the numbers, you can see where the split goes. Social gathering was surprisingly as a top spot, gathering. So you would think a library, you go there to read a book, play on the computer, but the response in here were a good portion of them really identified social gathering as important, as well as educational workshops and fitness and wellness classes, and then so on with the rest. And apparently the book club came in at the lowest. I would have not, but that's why they're surveyed. The existing location is not viewed as essential. So the largest group needed more information. So I was deliberate when asking the question. Are you interested? Because that was the point. Or if we move it here, are you interested? And the way it breaks down, for a specific location, the wellness center seems to be the one that people seem to have the more responses with 34, but they're not close to other facilities. As we can see here, maybe need more information. It means that they remain open to if we do consider the arena. So it is the way we sell it. And again, if we know they're looking for social gatherings, it may still be difficult to do it here at the size facilities, but this is information that could be used going forward. Convenience matters more than the exact location. So 82 of the 119 responded that they drive to the library. 30 walk. Seeing that the school is at one end of town and the arena is at the other end of town and the wellness center in the middle, you can balance it out how you want to, but the more people that drive, it seems that it's less of an issue that many may assume. That was the summary we came up with. The community hub concept is well supported. There was, between the maybes and the yes, it was a significant number, with only 12 saying that I guess they're more the traditional idea of a library. So at 90% support, it is, I think it is something for the library to look forward to. Residents favor co-located amenities. So again, this was, again, trying to see how we can make use of one facility to attract to another facility and maybe vice versa. So it seems that having a coffee or social space is key. Both this response and the previous one for social. Again, there was a strong support for the current location of the school, as well as for the fitness center. But unfortunately, neither of those can support a cafe. Like walking trails, outdoor playground, and arena came in at the lowest specifically. So there is the destination where several services are available is still, it's more important than the standalone library.
Second lowest.
Huh?
Second lowest.
Second lowest, yes. But again, if you balance out to the facilities to what they want, it has to be presented in such a way too that you understand. Cost implication. So cost, from a municipal finance perspective, the survey supports a direction that maintains library services, increasing programming, improves utilization, minimizes duplication of buildings, reduces long-term operating costs. Relocating the library into an existing municipal facility could reduce utility costs, maintenance costs, eliminate duplicating staff. During some hours, especially with the arena, you can have maybe staff cover the sporting activity, for example. Increase foot traffic, improve visibility, allowing programming to share space. And again, the recommended direction is to continue to provide core library services while transitioning the library towards a modern community hub model that increases programming, improves community use, and controls long-term operating costs by evaluating opportunities to locate the library within an existing municipal facility. So I don't know if, I think we're good now. It's just that's duplication in the bottom, the overall conclusion. So with this information, obviously, we are moving forward with application for grants. And also, once received by council, I will forward to the library board. Coming up, the new term of council, it is always policy that the new board members for the libraries are reappointed. It may be questions from this. At that time, we can ask board members coming in their point of view, because if you want to do the changes, it has to be the library board hand in hand with council to move to transition, because if you appoint traditionalists where I go there to open a book and it may be more of when we are appointing members to see where they are. However, we don't have a laundry list of applicants for the board.
Yeah.
So it's a balancing act, but it is potentially a tool at that point when appointing memory boards to make council's feeling known of, unfortunately, it'll be next council, but at this point, we do have the information. So council can say survey results are sufficient, we can close out the survey, and or we can continue receiving information, but at this point, I think we, at 8.7% is significant. Even if a few are duplicates, not duplicates, but the same household, it really doesn't matter at this point. We got 119 survey results.
Okay.
Which is nice to see.
Yeah, and I agree. At this point, the survey should be terminated. All right, I think I am also surprised in some of those results, but I think most people have a clear distinction, idea of what they would like to see, and I think the new method of community hub is desired. Any questions or comments?
No, thanks for putting the survey together. I'm very pleased with it. I think just all the information that you spoke about will be very useful going forward for proper decision making.
And actually, it might be the saving grace for the arena itself in the end.
No, I have no questions. Thank you for the report.
All right. Councilor Petit?
No questions. Thanks for the report. It's very well laid out. And, yeah.
Okay. Councilor Deschamps?
I had no questions for myself.
All right. Thank you, Denis. Great report. All right, next item. Municipal logos, 442, prepared by Denis.
Yes, Your Worship. Unfortunately, the response to this was maybe not as successful as once hoped. It did run a month less than the library, but unfortunately, we do probably need to step up the promotion of our events, even though it was shared, it was sent out to every tax insert, and I know we did do a post on, and it was on council meetings, but I don't think that's the number one item people listen to. But we did get a few results, and I want to get further direction if we want to continue to see more ideas come forward, or if we have an idea what we like, because obviously people did, there's three individuals that did care enough to take some time and do some mock-ups of logos. You got the one with the moose within a little circle, and you got a very fancy, idealistic one with all the little bubbles. And then you got a tad more traditional one with a farm on a river. And again, incorporating some historical, the representation of the lion, bravery, and lakes, forests, and farming, which was the theme of the song, which is a nice one. The next one, again, is a one that the mayor had brought forward in past, and the one below is, unfortunately, it sort of looks a lot like the one above with the farm, but it is, again, this is AI generated. It takes about maybe 2 minutes to generate. So from here, wanted to know if we want to maybe redouble our effort to get more logos forward, or within those, council has a winner. We can close out the contest with no winner and issue consolation prizes. We did have a commitment on $250 towards the winning one, but we can definitely extend. We were hoping maybe not 119 logos, but quite a few more. If council knows what they're looking for, we can generate more and continue circulating until we have sufficient one that we can circulate pick one of these 20 and we go forward. So again, it's a bit of a crossroad here. Do we continue to maybe double our effort in terms of promotion, or just cut our loss at this point and try to work out? Again, I created a multitude of different versions of logos, and some from the mayor. And they're quite fancy, like with the moves and ATVs and the farming. This is a minute. And again, the mayor has this one. Again, we can go with a square logo. Sorry for the visual here. We can go for traditional horse, farmer behind a horse and a farm. They're beautiful. Sorry for the distance over there. Or we can incorporate seasons with the moves. And unfortunately, it does copy a bit of the one above. And again, the staff, and I'm assuming the mayor, like even if they're chosen, we're not in, there's no cash reward for this. And
No.
again, the one is adjusting. So in terms of choosing a logo, if there's a typical a style that you like in there, we can continue with that. But unfortunately, at this point, we can continue advertising to see if more people are interested, because at three, and that basically we started mid-July. We ran it basically 4 weeks.
On Canada Day also, which was a portion where we were hoping to have a few logos ready, and when we didn't have any logos, I created a little promotional slideshow that I kept up there for maybe 45 minutes, and I had a few like mock-up, and they said, oh, I like the second one. I'm gonna vote on the second. They thought that the quick AI generated which one, create a new look. They weren't reading anything about doing it. They were saying, I like the second one. No, I like the third. They were ready to pick out of those three. So I'm of the, we could keep it open for a little while longer, or we could make a general decision on what version of logos that we seem to prefer, and staff would create, like you said, the 20 versions, the 20 samples.
With AI,
With AI, it takes no
we
time.
can generally, but we don't want an extended process where we come back for the next 5 meetings.
No.
So it could be one of those things that it's shared with council, and then at a meeting we come back. Or because it is fairly easy to make. It's just having the idea of, do we like the little creek running through with a little swamp in the back and a moose on the side and a farm. Is that what we want? Do we want more of a modern logo like our neighboring municipality to the north, where the M and W represent both towns but also represent the river that runs through them? It's a very
Artistic.
yeah, and there's a word for that, but anyways, we understand that they add a lot of thought, and it is symbolic
Yeah.
meaning. Where a river, trees, yes, it's St. Charles, but it's also the rest of Northern Ontario.
Okay.
I have one with a little St. Charles sign though, but
You have one with what?
I have a little mark like St. Charles, like coming to St. Charles, but it is a logo, and logos are often, they vary from symbolic to actual. Most of them are in the middle.
Can you put up the one that, the last one that I made there, that I took, because the last one, whichever, like I took the one that is at the bottom of page 51, and because those one they've got a lot of detail, and in the logo I'm not sure, yeah. So I took the one on page 51, I put it through AI, I said, can you render it in a simpler format that would be suitable for a logo. So, because this has lots of, maybe good on a pin, good on a t-shirt, good on, but as a logo, I think if you shrink it to the corner of the page, it becomes very busy and hard to see. Anyhow, so it's the same picture though. So anyhow, what is your thought, comment?
I'd like to see more, another month maybe,
Okay.
of announcing it.
So we promote it
promotion.
more.
And then, I know we talked about, maybe I'd like to see also, once we promote and if we get more, could we do more like a voting online on social media for everyone to, 'cause I find, it seems to me that if we make a decision, people come back and say, oh, we never heard about it, oh, we never. But if we put it on social media and you have to like it or like vote, and then people get firsthand on a decision. Cause I just find we make a decision, we've been promoting this, there's no one is like,
In the end, however, council, we're gonna be making the final decision there. Maybe they could reduce it to the top three. or-
exactly, but yeah, I just find, I think we should give the option for residents to also vote on it
Yeah,
and give us a better outcome of what we decide.
But if it's anything like what, like I said on that little sample thing I did on Canada Day, I want number one, they don't think about submitting. It would have to be
No, but it
clear
would be
on that.
submitted, like prior, and then once we have the submission, then you put it online on social media, and then they have to vote on the submission that we've received.
Yeah.
And then break it down to 3, like you stated, and then can bring it back to council, and then council can decide out of those 3.
Yeah, it's to get those submissions. Anything else?
No,
Councillor Loftus?
No, I mean, these are nice, but to me, they don't stand out and say, pick me kind of thing, unfortunately. So if you wanna extend the contest for another month or even 2 months, because
Yeah, there's no
there's
big
no
rush.
rush, because,
but we need to
But we'd like to
promote it.
finish it though.
Like, we need to promote it, so people,
so,
I
yeah.
find, like, we promoted, that's where you got the emails, I find. And then it dies down.
So maybe,
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if we could put it through the newsletter at the library again? To promote it for, like, September? Give September a good month anyways, and then revisit it?
Okay. Councillor Putzi?
Yeah, I see the submissions, they all have their different kind of aspect to it. I think it needs to be brought back, but I'm just wondering if coinciding it with an event is usually maybe a good way to close something off. But I don't know, they're a little few and far in between major municipal events. The next one would be the parade, but I don't think anybody wants to be thinking about that time of the year just yet. Yeah, I don't know, we could try extending another month or 2, but like obviously it's something that could take time. I don't wanna just rely on 3 submissions and,
No.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Councillor Charles?
I like Councillor LaFramboise's recommendation to try to include ratepayers in voting, because any kind of participation we can get from them, make them feel included is a win in my books, I think.
Yeah, okay.
I think a lot of the ones, like, they look nice, but they are very busy. Especially the one that came in from a certain teacher that I might say with. But,
That's not busy.
it's busy, to me it looks busy, but I think if they could narrow it down to 3 or 4 and have a vote for it, I think that's a fantastic idea.
Okay.
And as far as an event, like having an event, well, maybe we can have it done for the grand opening of the new King Street East. Paved, ready to go with the logo. It's smack dab center of the pavement.
There we go. Okay, So we're gonna continue for at least a month. We're gonna try and put it in the bulletin for the library. And maybe if every counselor would submit one also. And
Well, I don't think you should, like, again, those that were already submitted, I think they should still stay in the submission.
oh, yeah, they're
We're not-
staying.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right, okay, thank you very much. Next item, item 443, report to council, proposed amendments to waste management bylaw. That's you, Denis.
Yes, your worship. The director of operation was quite busy last week, so I assisted her in preparing this report. And so she went through the report itself and made some minor changes, and we tried to capture the intent of what council was looking for in terms of allowing brush at the landfill, but with limits. So basically, we're looking to amend clause 1.6, the definition of brush. Means a tree or any part of it thereof, bushes or part thereof, or grass cuttings replace with brush. So the more extended version, which means woody vegetation consisting of tree, shrub, branches generated from routine property maintenance. And we came to the conclusion, generally not exceeding 8 feet long, no more than 4-inch in diameter at the base or at the largest point. And again, free of soil, rocks, metal, wire, concrete, plastic, so basically pure branches. Small, well, relatively small branches. There are certainly big ones. The yard waste was also, we're proposing an amendment, what considers yard waste, biodegradable vegetative material generated through the routine maintenance of residential lawns and gardens, including grass clippings, leaves, pine needles, garden plants, flowers, weeds, hedge trimmings, and twigs not exceeding 1 inch in diameter or 24 inches in length, basically twigs. And again, in discussion, there's always a tolerance. It's not that the fact that a handful of twigs that are branches won't consider branches, and again, vice versa. If you have a branch that 9 feet long, it's not like we're going to ask them to take out the saw. Got it. However, guidelines. So that's what we're looking for definitions. Again, we'll go to wood waste. Means all natural manufactured wood materials not meeting the definition of yard waste, brush, including but not limited to. There's a list there. It ranges from 2x4 to maybe the stump of a tree. And the brush exemption. This is where where council was looking for a means for people to dispose of brushes. Notwithstanding the applicable tipping fee, brush may be accepted free of charge where all the following conditions are met. The material originates for residential property. Each branch complies with the brush definition. The total quantity delivered does not exceed 1 cubic meter. In terms of volume, we did a bit of calculation. A box of a pickup truck ranges from 1.5 to 2.3. So it's not quite a box full, but and again, for visual, this is we're thinking not a full box of branches, about half or 3/4 of a small truck box or a little trailer.
Yeah.
So just to get a sense of what 1 cubic meter is, and council can discuss the volume when you discuss the report. The material is separated from all other waste. Obviously, we do that for all the waste at the landfill. The load is not generated from a commercial operation, contractor, landscaping business, tree services. They're paid to do a service. That's a profit. And it's hard to control the source. Anyways, if they're not, these conditions are not met, then the tipping fee would apply. So that was the intent of the bylaws, to give access to everyone to dump a free amount of brush at the landfill. The landfill attendant may require oversized branches to be cut, prescribed dimension prior to acceptance. So obviously, we just want to give some control to the landfill attendant to have the authority to say yay, nay, or we need to talk. Again, the storm event exemption was not discussed, and it was not in the bylaw. But it has happened in the past where after a significant wind event, the council requested, and again, it was just done, we opened the landfill, we staffed it, it was not even on a regular day. It just, people just brought in waste. I felt it was important to put it in there to give an understanding if ever we have a wind event, we're not sitting there asking for $5 or whatever the tipping fee is. It is basically, everyone's in it, so we felt it important to put that exemption in. So we would have also to amend Schedule C, so amend construction bulky demolition waste, drywall, insulation, shingles. 2, construction and bulky demolition waste, drywall, insulation, shingles, flooring, lumber, and wood waste. So was this, instead of yard waste, we played around with the definition. We confirmed the no fees for the yard waste and the brush, less than what's proposed, a cubic meter. And again, as it was stated by the Director of Operation at the previous one, we do have to strike a balance between people dumping on the side of the road. Unfortunately, as it happens, the Director of Operation showed me a picture of branches dumped on the side of the road last week. So it is happening, but it also, if one property is generating more waste, they should be responsible for their waste. And no different than if you're careless with fire, you have to pay for your fee, your fire. If you are trimming your trees and you're excessive, we have to balance out those. So hopefully that gives enough to council to have a discussion, and maybe if you want to play with the volume, that is up to council, but that would allow for every time you go to landfill, if you have a half a box full, there's no charge to it.
All right, thank you very much. I think it meets, like we had discussed, the between being fair and just to everybody, because if somebody is bringing excessive amounts, he should be responsible. Any comments, questions?
I do have a comment for 5.5.3 for the volume. If you're gonna fill in a truck, you're gonna fill in a truck. If the person is coming from Hager, so you're telling me that half a load, and then he has to return home and get the half a load and return to the landfill, I don't think that's right. I don't get that. It should be like if you're cleaning up and it's I just don't get why we're putting that in there.
Okay, so you want the volume increase?
Well, I want number 3 taken out completely, or it just doesn't, I just don't get it.
So somebody could bring
It's
big dump
branches,
truck.
it's twigs, it's, yes. Who's gonna bring a dump truck? No one's gonna bring a dump truck.
Okay.
So I just don't get, we're making the taxpayers drive from Hager to bring half a load and then to return home and bring another half a load. I'm not in agreement with that, and I'm not in agreement with 5.51. So you're telling me the landfill attendant has time to look at oversized branches? What's the big deal if, at what point is he gonna take his measuring tape and look? Like if you have a trailer or a truck, the branches are not gonna be that oversized, bringing them in. So you're telling me that you're going to tell the resident to cut the twigs for them to accept it? I don't agree with that either.
Well, the word there is may though, right?
Yeah.
I know, but still,
Okay,
like,
all right. Any other?
nope, that's
issues?
everything.
Okay, Councillor Loftus.
No, I mean, like a truckload of branches, as long as they're reasonable. And I mean, if they're 8 foot in length and they're tied in the back of your truck, I mean, I think that should be just acceptable, just to dump out and go on your merry way instead of making several trips. And I mean, most of the people, I think, if they brought one truckload, they would bring, like, say if a tree fell down and they're just cleaning up twigs and everything else and they cut it up, I mean, it's not gonna be 12 foot length, it's gonna be probably 8 or 9 feet, so just let them dump it. But I mean, one load should be sufficient.
Okay. Councillor Petit?
Yeah, I'm just, you know, back in the day, it was just wide open, and then we went the opposite kind of
Because
direction.
we would burn them.
We used to burn them.
Yeah, yeah. But then the argument was, when we were chipping, is that we were also saving costs on fill for bringing in the chipper. So that was the argument, was, all right, well, we're saving on costs by, we don't have to get as much fill material.
We're recuperating some of them, yeah.
Of fill, yes. So, but it's also incurring a cost because now we gotta get the chipper. So, you know, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Yeah, the sizes and everything, it's all gonna be like, at the discretion, right? Cause like at the end of the day, they're not, he's not gonna be looking to be going out with a measuring stick for every, it's, just you know, the people that are clearing out an entire, lot is kind of put a stop to that, but I'm sure a lot of people who are clearing out a lot would rather just keep the wood for wood burning down the road anyways. Yeah, I don't have an issue with removing the quantity, but I don't know, I just there's a fine line between bringing a truckload and bringing like a 2-3 dump trailer loads.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. There is I don't know how you could really regulate that. It's kind of difficult to really try to do that, right? So, I don't know. I'd say take out 3. I'm in favor of that. And then 5.5.1. I'm okay with that being in it. It just says May. It's not like if it's a big log or something there, he's gonna ask just cut it. Like, obviously they might not have a saw there, but
But I think like Dennis said at the beginning, it sort of gives us the opportunity, if he sees lots, then he can say, oh, but you're not meeting it. But if there's only one that's not, there's most likely it's just gonna go through.
So, I was gonna just add for the length, the intent was, it will require municipal equipment to move the branches onto the pile, where an 8-foot length can be easily tossed onto the pile. Again, if somebody dumps it in a neat pile, I highly doubt we're going to be running after that person. It was the intent of, if you're dumping a 25-foot branch,
Yeah.
and they do exist. They're of the bigger like maples, but unfortunately, it was never the intent of. It's 8.2 inches.
Yeah.
No, 8 feet 2 inches. Sorry.
And okay. Any comments, Councillor Lachance?
Yeah, so on 3, if you were to take it away, it doesn't leave any, I understand the argument of having a truckload, like a pickup truckload or whatever. Do you just up it to like 3 cubic meters, or is it, or, because if you take the limit away, then they get choked with the truck and dump trailer and as many visits as they want in a day.
They're gonna do it no matter what, right? There's no limit on the visit.
they can come as many times.
But that might discourage them if they have to limit to a truckload as opposed to a big tandem full load. Like, if they want to work it against the system, well, let's make them work for it.
I don't agree.
No, for me, the only thing is it just comes down to how often you have to do the chipper. If the pile grows really big, really fast,
I think it's once a year, the chipper.
if the pile grows really big, really fast, you might have to have a chipper in early.
Good coverage for the landfill.
Okay, yeah.
If I may, just from an emergency services standpoint, if we dissuade ratepayers from bringing their brush to the dump into a controlled environment, you're going to have the ratepayers that will just choose to pile the brush on their property. That brush will die, it will dry, and it creates a large fire hazard on those properties. So from an emergency services standpoint, as fire chief, I would prefer all the brush to end up in the landfill to be chipped, whatever happens, because no, staying on people's individual properties is going to create a hazard. Just an emergency services opinion on that.
And not
It's only
affecting
for,
grade.
it's only for residential use, it's not like we're accepting a whole farm worth of dry old stuff either, so. The only other argument I have to the, if we were to remove number 3, less wear and tear on the road, but less, well, it's more weight but less trips on the road, so. For grading purposes and stuff.
Yeah, okay. As for, I think everybody's pretty much in agreement that the volume at least should go to a full truck, because if somebody compacts it into the back of a truck, he can get a lot more than if somebody just loosely fills his truck. So, like, a truck is a truck. I think that limit should be increased to be able to handle a truckload, a half-ton truckload, but I think that's where the limit should stand, but I didn't get a good sense of who is in agreement with a truckload at a time, or if somebody wants to say, okay, if he wants to then bring a big dump trailer, he's good.
I'm
Leave it
fine with
open.
that.
Leave it open.
You're open?
Yeah.
Open?
Keep it open.
Okay.
I also have another comment. For the bylaws and tipping fees, I would like to see transparency and added to the quarterly, how much we bring in for tipping fees of landfill. All of the tipping fees, I'd like to see it in the quarterly landfill. Yeah, I know that we have the scrap metal and something else, but I would like to see how much we're bringing in.
For tipping fees?
Yeah.
I'm sure that's accessible somewhere.
So if I understand correctly, we're going to change the fee to brush, remove any condition there, and put no charge?
That's what you want? Yeah?
Yeah.
So back where we were originally, where apart from the clearing a lot, like if you're hauling 20 loads a day, there's
Or large lumber.
No, I think the
Not
diameter
the
is
large
still in
one,
play.
Oh, you still want the
Yeah, I
diameter?
think that
Yeah.
A branch is a branch, like we're not taking trees, right?
It's
Yeah,
just
that's
that,
it.
No,
Okay.
just the,
Because I see where you're putting your
Branch
house, like, I
and-
don't think that's
and
what you're
brush.
saying.
Okay,
Go
so,
down a little
like
bit?
the definition
Yeah.
of
Okay,
5.53.
2.5,
Okay.
yeah.
Sorry, up a
Oh.
bit.
so no limit,
So if you go on 3,
Yeah.
The volume is no
5.53,
yeah.
IM 3 is what they're saying, the
Yeah.
amount of trips or the size of the load that you're
Okay,
bringing.
so the
But not
direction,
size of
Yeah,
the
that
branches.
seems to be the consensus.
remove 5.53, and it will be brought back.
5.51 and
Minutes now?
5.5, number 3.
one?
5,
I don't,
5.5, under 5.5, brush exemption.
Oversized,
3.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you said one the first thing.
oversized what? Okay, so that's for the length and not the diameter.
What?
No, it's the
3 is-
volume, right? Number 3 is the volume.
the one that you already
Page
highlighted.
54.
But 551,
No, no,
is-
no one.
551. Material,
No. There's
Originate from-
5.5 subsection 1, and then there's 5.5.1, the way the report's written. That there's two different.
So
okay.
5.5, brush exemption, number 3.
yeah, 5.5, number 3, total quantity delivered does not exceed 1 cubic meter.
we're good.
Yes.
But oversized branches.
Or
we
trees.
Yeah, trees are trees and branches are branches.
leave. Exactly. All right. Thank you very much. All right, moving on then. Report to council, update canteen rental.
Yes, your worship, from the last council meeting, I was to bring back the result of the negotiation with the proponents, and as I did advise council, their proposal was withdrawn, so I did share that with council. So we're back to now step 1. So from here, there's a few things we can do quickly, and obviously we have to move forward as quickly enough. We could retender. We do have still a window. There is roughly 7 weeks until there's ice on the arena pad. So if somebody operating a canteen, obviously we can open up the tender, have submission, and maybe early September, September 2nd meeting, potentially have the results of the first, seeing who is potentially interested in running a canteen. We have the option of, I know it was put forward as a vending machine. Maybe in the tender, look at vending machines only. If, as the other, the proponent mentioned, it is capital intensive to start, and it is, if you don't get a good season, it's costing you a lot of money. Or council can also choose to open up negotiations with the proponent that withdrew their canteen proposal to see if they want to, as they mentioned in their presentation, they would be open to a vending machine. Again, I did not continue the discussion with them. This was coming to council to see where we want to go, because obviously the tender was advertised, and at this point there's no proponent, so we're starting step one. So the vending machine, two options: either we include it in the tender, or we negotiate. And then the decision whether when we retender, is we tender without exclusivity or with exclusivity as specified, because obviously that will reduce a lot of potential bidders if there's not exclusive, as we saw.
Yep.
And if it does, it really probably favors the ones that hold the tournament. Good or bad, it is what it is. And again, the other, what I'm looking at is, we don't know if it's going to be 1, 2, 3, or 4 teams of minor hockey. It would always be better if, like, there's 4 teams, and then maybe somebody would, hey, we're going to make a fortune with a canteen. At this point, deferring is a bit difficult, because then it would only leave a very small window to discuss what to do with the arena. So I do believe we should retender, and by September 2nd, hopefully minor hockey will have some numbers for us, and that would help maybe in negotiating with the proponents. And again, we will have to look at hopefully at the September 2nd meeting where the season goes. Whether there's, again, 1, 2, 3, or 4 teams. We will look at what the season will look like. So potentially at that point, we could also look at the committee, Parks and Rec committee, to look at this also as a separate issue. But again, we started early, and we're in the same position as last year, unfortunately. So at this point, one or two things is going to happen. We put out a new tender with a short window, hopefully September 2nd, and include a vending machine as an option, or just first come, first serve. But as we did last year and received proponents, honestly, to keep it fair, tender is the best portion. So from here to Friday, issued a tender and asked for a August 30th, not August 30th, 30th, 29th, 28th response, so the Friday before the meeting. And then we would have like 4 or 5 days to look at the tender and present to council.
Okay. All right.
I'm in agreement with that.
All right, good.
Yeah, I'm also in agreement with his recommendation.
Okay. Councilor Patsy?
So we're looking to retender, but with or without exclusivity? Yeah, that's what.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm. The exclusivity wasn't, and that discussion with the proponent wasn't meant to be removing exclusivity entirely, and I think that's maybe what was maybe a little confusing. Is like, I think what it should remain is exclusive to what they are already selling. Like, nobody else shall sell what they are nobody can go in there and sell a chicken wrap. Like, if they're selling chicken wraps, nobody should, like, You know what I mean? But if there's fundraising activities happening, and the canteen is open, well, the fundraising can't be selling chicken wraps. They can only sell what, and that's, yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's what, like, I don't know if that's,
So,
and that's what, I thought that's what we were kind of going for, but, and that's what they kind of rejected, or?
so I think it was with, sorry, I had a few meetings and either was director of operations or the clerk, so I have to look at the clerk to figure out. It was the director of operations. No, the clerk. We did sit down with them and they were looking for exclusivity for all sporting events. They were very, very specific for all sporting events. And after that, they came with a decision that, which I shared with council. It doesn't mean if we put it back on the table with some exclusivity that they may consider maybe a lower quotation or a lower proposal, which may be more favorable as a, well, I just don't want to say a number, but if we put like $1 a month and we're all in, but we need something. But again, that was just basically an idea, but exclusivity, if we can be specific so we can put it in the tender so there's no confusion come September, would be great.
Yeah. Okay, before, we're gonna go back to what's your concept for vending rights? Councilor Framboise. Should
I'm in
it-
agreement with vending rights.
No, but should it be exclusive? Should they have exclusive use for all sporting events? Should
But
it
the
be,
vending is different, right? A vending machine is a vending machine.
I
You're
mean,
asking
for,
vending.
I'm asking for the bidders for the canteen. Should they have exclusive rights at all sporting events? Should
Like-
they,
I think Councillor Petit was explaining, it does make sense
if they don't
Minor
sell
ho-
spaghetti,
exactly,
the operator of the event can sell spaghetti.
exactly, yes. I agree with that concept because, let's face it, we have minor hockey and we have minor hockey, the family hockey tournament, what else do we have at the arena? So I honestly don't see how they would have missed out on like, there is not much, like it's minor hockey.
Yeah,
So I think if minor hockey is renting upstairs and they wanna do a spaghetti lunch for purpose of fundraising, I agree with that. It doesn't interfere with the canteen whatsoever.
but the canteen would have exclusive rights to their menu.
To their
Exactly.
menu, yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And they did propose a vending machine. I don't have a problem with the vending machine either.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm in agreement also. I think that, you know, they can have exclusive to their menu. But I mean, if there's a tournament or something going on where somebody wants to sell spaghetti or, you know, hot hamburger sandwich and that's not on their menu originally, then the fundraiser should be allowed to
Okay.
serve that.
We could even like, do you limit it to, cause like even if the Lions is doing a fundraiser upstairs or at the arena or something, like, I guess they were looking at sporting events
Sporting
only,
events, yeah.
but in reality, like, yeah, like, cause the benefit to the canteen is that it can also be, like, if you really wanted to, there's a lot of seating area there, it could be used for more than just during sporting events. You could be attracting people into the arena just to go there. Like, that's the kind of
The
A
cafe.
little coffee shop.
yeah,
or-
yeah, exactly. So,
No.
like, that's where saying sporting events might not always be the key factor, because if you're saying non-sporting events, well, if you're just opening up a cafe, well, maybe somebody upstairs is going to want to rent upstairs and sell, but it's not a sporting event. So, yeah, I think you got to be careful with the sporting event portion of it, because it can really be kind of left up for that. Yeah, I'm in favor of maybe we just say not for profit only. Like, it can't be somebody looking to, like, it has to be not for profit organization doing fundraising or something. That's the only, and still
not
exclusive
on their
to
menu.
exclusive. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Councilor Deschamps?
so many different ways to look at it, because you're gonna have a public event, private event. If it's a private event and they don't want a canteen open, yeah, even if it was if say I were to wanna make my own little, I wanted to rent the arena for a weekend and have family shinny for a weekend or whatever, right, as a private rental. You know, why, I could choose that I want a canteen open or not, but the other side of it too is that they promised 10% to minor hockey, which was the two fundraising activities. Well, the arena's open for hockey, then like there is curling and such. I don't know if the canteen is ever open during curling.
No, but it
I
might
don't
have been.
think so, but, so for minor hockey games, probably not practices, but their games on the weekend. And then for the family tournament, though, they're saying 10%. And maybe if, because it's minor hockey that puts on the family tournament, if they were to look and see that their revenue for their food is around 12-13% or whatever it may be, is it worth doing their own food if they're gonna get 10% and not do the work? So again, like, I don't wanna make decisions for committees. I think that having a strong partner in the arena could, like I say, it's gonna make 500 people go to the arena more than last year, but it could increase participation, or at least keep people there for those activities a little bit longer. And of all the times I went to the arena last year, the canteen wasn't open, other than, even for most of the sporting events, it was hard to see it open. Like it was not open very much, and I'd rather see it utilized. So that being said, I'd be in favor with trying to discuss what, just simply, if it's a private rental versus a public event, where we're at. Because a private rental, if someone wants to rent the arena for a non-public event, well, I don't think the canteen should be able to override what that person's doing. But for a public event, it's a public event, so that's
So
kinda
an
where I am.
event for raising funds where the
That's
public
public.
is invited,
It's public.
it's a public event, and they should have exclusivity at that event.
I think it'd be something to consider, because again, for public events is what the canteen is used for primarily, and we want people to show up to the public events and use the arena, so. I think
Okay.
having a strong partner in there that's gonna operate the canteen more, whoever's gonna put more time into it, and not saying, no, it was nice to have minor hockey take it over the last couple of years, but I feel that this business is looking to make money on it, so they might be there a little bit more often.
Okay,
That's where I'm at. And
All
again, for the 10%, the generous donation that they mentioned, I don't know if minor hockey were to look at that and see, it might be very close to their profit margin anyways for what a spaghetti there would be for a plate.
okay, so that, at this point right now, we've got 1, 2, 3 people that state it's, as long as the event is not selling from their menu, that they should be allowed to, if they don't have spaghetti on their menu, spaghetti is fair game. Is that what yeah? Yeah, okay. So that is the decision of council.
What,
All right.
sorry, I just had a question, maybe, when the tender went out the last time, or whatever it was it, maybe a question about, was it only like meant to be open during sporting events or during events, or was it kind of left open?
It was non-committal, it was you're operating a canteen. The
Yeah.
exclusivity and all those questions came as a business model where their business model required certain guarantees before the investment. There is a cash register there that is owned by the municipality. Doing improvements like points of sale is at their choice, but it's still an expensive choice. And they're in to make money, so it's not, but there was no exclusivity, there was no menu. In this term, I will say, we on a mutually agreed menu items, and we can alter the menu, but there's sufficient notice. And it can't be because somebody's doing a spaghetti fundraiser in 3 weeks that you're gonna be allowed to do spaghetti on your menu.
Yeah.
That's the way the canteen operated in the neighboring municipality in Warren.
Okay.
Has there been, like, cause I know part of if it's open, I know always on, the forever question is about liability and the doors and everything being accessible. Like, I mean, we keep going on about that, but like realistically, it's other arenas I don't know really operate the same way, that they restrict access. But what's been happening in getting, you know, those doors changed, or like I know there was I think we were looking at grants possibly for that, or I don't know if there's anything else that we can look at, because I know that was part of it, and I don't want that to be a deciding factor, that when it does happen that, okay, we have somebody who's interested in opening it, but if it's a business operating the canteen, they're not going to be responsible for the remainder of the arena, but we won't necessarily have a staff there at all times. So like, you know, that's kind of an issue there, right, that we need to address as well, that if somebody's going to be opening the canteen from 8 till 8.
Yeah,
like,
but with all of the grant money that is potentially available, maybe some of those problems can be resolved to some extent.
So I did apply for 2 similar grants for the arena doors, and they're both for accessibility. So the main entrance, if we can get the core system in, I did go there with the gentleman from Locks and Keys and ask him about locking those doors. One of the fire chief is that we can't strand somebody on one side of the door. They have battery backup locking doors on a fob system. When the alarm is triggered, all doors can be opened. And he said that is your best solution. Unfortunately, the grants won't do that, but if we get a fob system installed with enough capacity, then it would be just the additional cost of putting those it's not mag locks.
Features.
Those locking doors where we can lock the doors. If somebody pulls the alarm, they unlock.
And the strikers.
Yeah, strikers.
Open.
Yeah, so, and there was all kinds of solutions where because now we have an alarm system, and they can tie into the fob system, and he said it has to be battery backup, because obviously pull the power and then apparently all the doors open. But no, he said you do battery backup and it maintains the system in an alarm fault. All the doors will open or prevent to be one-way access. He said everything was thought of. So we have half the solution of the fire alarm. We just need, I think the system was like $5,000 for the fob system.
Okay.
The most expensive part were the doors. The new standard is moving from 38 inches to 40 inches.
Yeah.
And he said, while you're at it, might as well go 42 inches because that's where the standard is going. It's no longer 36 going forward. They are moving to 38 and further. That being said, fingers crossed, we get one of the 2 grants that I applied for. And at that point, that might give you the jumping to put in the budget a couple $1,000s to wire those doors and get the lobby separate and actually run it maybe as a cafe.
But okay, we're straying a little bit there, but
well, it has to do with
it has to do. You're right.
Yeah,
but one.
And the other thing, sorry, is what was missing last year in the canteen in that whole area is heat. Is that something that's been addressed?
I've had discussion, and apparently the director of operation went there and they turned on the thermostat and they had heat. It's definitely to be looked at because there might be something wrong with the thermostat itself. So
Okay.
I know she did talk about some money to repair electrical. I just don't know if it's that particular one she was.
So I know last year in the winter it was like 10 degrees or.
The director of operation is aware of it.
Okay.
I just don't. I don't know if that's the money to fix or it was
Okay.
just a whoopsie. Somebody forgot to turn on the breaker.
Sounds good. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. So you've got all your information you need. All right. Thank you very much. Next, item 445, report to council. Trillium Fund Grant, new playground.
Yes, Your Worship, this is good news. Well, after 3 years, good news. We did get $197,000. We are able to announce it publicly for a new playground. So the intent of the grant was to rehabilitate buy a new one to replace the one that's existing at the arena. And the idea was to put it, and I think we discussed it with council, is to locate it between the gazebo, the splash pad, and the accessible washroom. And I think once they pave, they will also pave the path from the sidewalk on the road to the splash pad to the gazebo. Public Works has already laid the groundwork. And I think the Director of Operation has already signed the change order to get that paved once we get there. So that is the good news. There's a few, early on this spring, I did get a call that we were being moved to the final stage for another grant I applied for, which basically was to add on accessible equipment to the existing playground, because the one we have is really not friendly. There's sand, no longer allowed. There's a 6-inch wood, no longer allowed. All the play equipment is not accessible if you are if you're in a wheelchair or what in that particular case. So that being said, I did apply for a grant, and lo and behold, I did get a call that we were being moved to the final stage. We would get a final decision in early September. So I'm just leaving that out in there. The application was for $100,000. We would have to commit 25% of that, $100,000. And again, the question here, we already have $200,000. So now we know for sure we have $197,000, and to make it viable, I know we do have to put in some. We have to excavate. We have to do some equipment work, because there's no way we can have a respectable playground for $200,000 nowadays. It's just crazy. So the one question I'm looking for council, whether we get this grant or not, if we are still interested in now maybe having a $300,000 playground with a bit more equipment. That's why I did, in the report you'll see there's a breakout. They're not, to compare it to what we have now, it's probably a third of the size. Unfortunately, that's what it is.
Yeah.
A third of the size, 5 times the cost, unfortunately. So if council is still interested in, if we are receiving the grant, and if we are, and unfortunately I used lame duck and I was corrected by the clerk, we have to do a restricted act period. So just please, unfortunately, old school. So if we're still interested for that, I would need council, similar to what you're going to do in later on, is basically give directions now that yes, this is what we want. We're agreeing to expend that money now. And I'm a bit different than the bylaw. It's basically delegating the power. You can do it different ways, and the bylaw was quite clear. Well, we'll talk it later in that one. So if we're still interested, I just need council's direction on that. That $100,000. It by no means we're going to get it or we're not going to get it. Just in case, and in the event we are in the restricted act, it really binds staff because spending money is over $50,000 is not allowed, and it doesn't matter if we get $100,000 and we only have to spend 28 in our portion. I still need permission. $100,000 is $100,000. The other thing, sort of complicating, but not. The daycare location has been pegged out. I think the little pegs are still there if they weren't pulled out. It is very, very close to the existing playground. So they are, we don't know the amount of money or assistance they will provide us, but because it's part of the construction of the playground, we also will probably get some funds or to help us relocate the playground to the new location. But the idea is, if the excavation for the foundation is scheduled for early September, mid-September. It is a prefabricated home or house that will be delivered in sometime in October. They have to build to the southern part first and then expand north because of the wastewater, the elevation. If they started north, they would have to rise higher to keep the slope. we're now, because they're building at this end, the washrooms will be located at the further south rather than at the north, like another 60 feet north. Again, long issue to say, they're saving money by building elevation.
Yeah.
I think it was up to 16 inches of additional height that they would have to raise. So that is, and the good news about that, they were saying they're already looking for the expansion for part 2 of it. So I don't think it'll stay that small for long, but it may. But anyways, so part of this is if we do start building in when they start building in September, do we fence off the current playground, just maybe dismantle a few logs on the side and leave it there until we build a new one? Or dismantle it and just let the public know, and this will have to do a better job of getting the word out there, is this, maybe there's no playground, it is fall, we have an alternate one, but we will get a new one.
Yeah.
And then I had a discussion with the director of operations. I said, yeah, we're going to put it up this fall. I got to look, as it is going to be tight in terms of timing with other projects, because we won't get delivery of this equipment tomorrow. Even if we order today, it is, our experience is 6 to 8 weeks and sometimes longer. So we would be, no matter what, in a October-ish construction. I have already confirmed with OTF that we can build as late as June 2027. Wow. Long years. So is council ready to go without the main playground? We still have the spare one until the new one is built. And if so, is council comfortable to have, if we have to push it to June of next year? And I've already been told that depending on spring conditions, we may have some limitations. So that's a bit of the scenario where I'm looking at and looking how council is feeling, whether it is, we're building a playground, a daycare, this playground is coming down no matter what. We're not gonna, we may, I wanna say portions of it, maybe some, like the little hoop you toss the ball in, and tall bounces back there. But by all intended purposes, we are building at the splash pad. It's timing. We may have a mid to late fall window. However, if it's Northern Ontario, October, sometimes the snow comes and we park everything. We would definitely continue with tendering, purchasing the equipment. If we receive it, we can keep it in, we got storage now. So don't tell the director of operation I offer that space, but it is a bit of a window where we may be lacking a playground. So I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. That if we build the daycare, we're okay to dismantle the playground, even if it means a delay or an absence of the main playground until June 2027.
The new one would. What's the date of that it would be dismantled?
Has the wood excavate would be probably the second week of September, second or third week of September. He did say the dates, but it depends on when the house, because they don't want to build the foundation a month in advance.
Okay.
The idea is to build and have equipment on and get it delivered.
All right. So we'll deal with that one first. Are we in agreement to have the playground dismantled second or third week of September, considering that early next spring we should have a new one?
I'm in agreement, because I think it also plays a safety issue. I think if we look at the structure itself, so dismantling it and waiting, I'm sure people are going to be eager, but you know what, the wait is going to be worth it. So I think to dismantle it. So would it be Public Works dismantling it, or would it be the construction company from the
I think I was offered the construction company. However, if we want to salvage a few of the items, I would definitely ask if Public Work can salvage a few of them. But we are working cooperatively with the.
So it's free of charge, like it's all included in.
It's part of their construction.
Perfect.
And again, like I say, they have offered, if it fits within their budget, some financial assistance in terms of maybe they'll put extra money towards, because obviously we're going to go from a big playground to, it probably would be similar in size as the one in French River, the Champlain Park.
Yeah.
So it is a.
That's perfect.
Okay. Councillor Loftus?
I don't mind tearing it down because I know a new one's gonna be built, but we're really gonna have to post this like as soon as possible, you know, and let the schools know, let the daycares, the daycare know at the French school, and just basically why we're tearing it down. And if you post with all the details, you know, good news, we're getting 200,000, or we're receiving a grant and we're building a brand new one due to the safety condition of this one, then I think people will be okay with that. But I mean, if it's not posted, and I know people will go around and say, oh, I bring my kids, and there's a lot of kids that use that park still, because I go down that road daily, and there's like 4 or 5 cars on a daily basis with their kids out there, and they let them play while they sit and talk on their phones. So I think late September will be acceptable to everybody.
Okay. Councillor Petit?
Yeah, I'm in favor of late September, but so they're talking about this is something the entirety of the park, or, because at first I thought it was just a corner that was. Yeah.
There's 2 options. It would be within the construction zone. They could work around it, but because they have to excavate, so I'm sure it would be like the corner border, and they could put a snow fence and leave it there. I don't like, there's an issue having maybe kids playing beside the construction site. It's like, like the builders really, they work for the school system, so they know, but construction site's a construction site, so.
Because the back half is the fenced area for the most part, is it not? Or
the daycare?
Yeah.
Yes,
that's the part that would be closest. That's the part that would be impacting the playground, from my understanding. So it's, yeah, like you have kind of double the space there, but because we wouldn't be getting, we'd be looking at like a June install of this. Is that like?
Right now,
it wouldn't be happening this year. I don't think.
The odds are probably not. If and I was the director of operation was involved in a bit in the one in French River, and she told me that 6 to 8 week is a good window.
Yeah.
It could be later. And where we're sitting right now, it could be 30 degrees in November, or we could be 30 inches of snow.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I'm in favor of middle, or I guess end of September of. But I guess it's a shame that they got to take it down entirely there. It's just, if there's enough separation, maybe they can leave it up. But I know then they're not taking on the construction work of, Yeah. And then as far as the salvaging some of the pieces, was that intended to, like, I know it was questioned about stuff like that for in Sudbury. Do they, like, how does that work? Are you salvaging it to relocate it to the other park? Or are you salvaging it to try to sell some on gov deals? Or are you trying to move some to
if the swing set?
I guess the swing set, yeah.
If the swing set meets the standard for playgrounds, like, it's perfectly good. I don't care if there's 3 or 4 swing set. That would be one. The little Jeep in the example, little Jeep.
Yeah.
And the little basketball thing, and if we can't salvage it, it is scrap. This is not going to be sold. It is. I don't think somebody would pay $50 for the Jeep.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Councillor Chance.
Like for the swing set and the little ball throw thing, those, there's no reason those can't stay there. They're not within the footprint of the park, they're away from it.
Yep.
Like I wouldn't be ripping those out, but as for the rest of the park, like, this weekend, there's a lot of kids playing there, 2 weekends with the family, sure, a lot of kids playing there, and there's a few items that were concerning to me, so when my kids are on it, I'm like, well, I'm not, soup culture, like, we're not like that, but it scares me a little bit, so I think it's not a bad idea to have it, taken down sooner or later. I would like to have one available for that, but, before June, obviously. We do have the other one on Notre Dame, and if this lake set remains there, at least there's that too, so.
Yeah. What we also have to think is that if school is restarted, then the students or the kids all have access to these types of equipment at the schoolyards most of the time. So it's not like all of a sudden they're going to go without. They're going to get it access at school. So yes, we're going to lose it for that short period of time, but I think it's for a benefit afterwards. And being in a construction zone, you don't want something that's going to pull in kids. And even if you put a fence there, don't go past the fence. Sometimes they don't listen. I don't know if that happens to you too sometimes, but that's whatever I've seen anyhow. So, yeah.
I just had a question. You had brought up school. I was thinking about that as well. I thought we were inquiring about, like, because they close the gates there. They leave the drive-in area open, but I know there was I thought there was a question brought up about liability, whether or not, like, if that's why they're closing the gates. Like, do we need to like offer some kind of like municipal insurance for after hours? Like, I don't know what, like, because they close the gates. I always thought it was it was because it's school property and it was liability a reason why they're closing the gates. But I mean, it's a newer park that, I mean, regardless, the kids are going to be going there anyways. They all crawl under the fence or go around. It's just, if they're already doing that, why not just make it accessible? I know that, I think that was brought up a while ago about reaching out to the school and asking why that's the case. I don't know.
Did anybody reach out on that
No,
question?
but I'll definitely make a point and follow up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we're all in agreement that can be dismantled, and in preparation of the construction of the daycare and in anticipation of the new construction. Now you needed, you have something else?
Public notice.
No, yeah, next step.
Okay, so, and again, so if we are in the restricted act period, well, I have not received, unfortunately, I don't have the agreement tonight. I think the clerk has a resolution to allow for the signature, or, so the authority to delegate the authority to sign the agreement. It is there, so I forgot to tell you to put it in the resolution form. It is that council authorized the CEO to execute the agreement. So you can copy and paste. If council, because if we do in restrict act, it is, I just want council to authorize that the decision of the 196 is agreed to tonight.
Yeah,
And you can delegate to either the clerk or the mayor or myself. If it's clerk to the mayor, it's a decision of council. I think that might be better in discussion with the clerk. So I add it to the CAO, but you can also do the clerk to the mayor. I know it's a more simplified.
You have it? I don't, but.
On page,
Are you talking about option 3?
yes. That was for the agreement with Trillium. So if you copy paste and change CAO to clerk and mayor and make it a decision of council tonight, that one is a straightforward one. I don't think there's any issue. It just prevents the decision is made tonight to enter in that agreement. And then when we receive it, the clerk and the mayor will be able to execute it. And similar, the
If you get the other grant?
the tender, again, if the restricted act, it may continue until November 15th. I would really like to start like tendering out for this. And And if the tender comes back in, and November 15th comes along, and it'll be new council. And again, here again, authorize the CAO, or as the clerk and mayor may be better in terms of authorization to execute the provincial funding agreement. The highest ranking compliant bidder. Again, that one could potentially hold off, but then it fully firms that we won't be building it this fall.
No,
Because we never know. I could put out a tender 2 weeks and a 2-week delivery, and we get a great October.
okay.
So this, that one, and the federal grant, this would have to be a decision of council. If council wishes to accept, if we do receive it, do we first of all, do we accept it? And if we do, we have to contribute 25%, which comes out to
17.
So, Kaisa Alliance, which is my last one, they did generously, at least on confirming email, $40,000. We've already spent some money on the fencing for the pickleball court. We will be spending some money on the gazebo. And the balance was for the playground, because that was when myself and the mayor did walk around with the bank gerant, manager. That's how we got the 40,000. So there's still $21,000 unspent, and so we can apply this against this bigger grant, but we would still be short $17,000 to cover the full 25% of the cost. And I'm suggesting we take it from the asset management plan, AMP, reserve fund. Shut up, my glasses. So I'm also asking that is, if we do get it, can we just decide tonight to do that and authorize again? We'll just put it all on the clerk and the mayor to sign this. First of all, to authorize the expenditure, and to authorize taking from the asset management reserve and applying the balance of the case Alliance a donation to that. And that would make it a $350,000. And I'm dreaming here because I'm just ecstatic with 200. So, but if we can spin it and have it a bit bigger, it would be nice. But it is still money. So it's still $17,000 that of taxpayer dollars on this one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not 100%. You want me to continue while she prepare? While the clerk-
Okay, what, yep,
So the last part of this, this is the more fun one. Trillium does require a public announcement, a groundbreaking, either at the opening in June of 2027 or in the fall, if I can schedule it with a member of, this would be with Mr. Vantoff, John Vantoff, to do a breaking ground with a shovel, shiny silver shovel, and take a spoonful of dirt out of make a divot at the splash pad. So I'm just asking council if they're interested. I'm going to try to organize it for September, and maybe it'll be showcasing everyone, the daycare, the gazebo, because that was also provincial funding, and now this new playground. So if you're interested, because I don't know what happens come a few months from now, but that might be just a good news story.
okay.
So if you're willing, just let me know, and I could see what I can book in sometime in September.
I'm in agreement. How about yourself?
I am in agreement.
Yeah,
I'm also in agreement.
okay. All right, so that's in agreement. Did you,
Sorry, I do have a question though.
okay,
So when you're looking at, I know you mentioned when the construction company is going to pay for everything, when it comes to reinstalling the new playground, for all the ground and work, is all of that included in the pricing,
So the 200,000, the pricing,
like the preparation and?
all grants require in-kind or some kind of contribution. We can spin it, but I was asking Public Works to excavate all in the material. The material will be part of the grant, but the labor to excavate, compact place would be municipal. Installation would be a contractor. I'm not asking staff.
And it's all included.
And all included in that 200,000. There's a potentially that we could get rubber matting, because now it's either wood chip or rubber matting. I think I can get it at a fairly good cost from the construction company, because they work for a school system and they do have some in stock. And I think I'll get more than my money's worth to get a better product than wood chips. Because wood chips, I've been told that you gotta watch for the you gotta watch for the mushrooms.
Yeah.
But the rubber matting is the way to go, and that's where I'm banking on that they will step in and provide some or most of that, because that is the more expensive product. But if it's included, that's what I'm banking on, hopefully.
For their contribution.
For their
from
contribution.
the,
I know they had also mentioned about maybe like a little basketball court or something that was mentioned. I don't know.
Right now, I'm hoping for the rubber. Yeah, so there might be some back and forth, but right now is that rubber, we'll upgrade from the wood chip to the rubber mat, and we've already opened the discussion. So,
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready for the?
Born ready.
You're okay. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Loftus, Councillor Potier.
Moved by Councillor Loftus and seconded by Councillor Patier that the council authorized the mayor and clerk to execute the provincial funding agreement for the approved Ontario Trillium Foundation grant in the amount of $196,000, together with any documents necessary to implement the project, provided the agreement is substantially consistent with the funding approval and does not impose additional financial obligations beyond those previously approved by council.
Okay. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, thank you very much. So that's it for this one?
Two more.
What?
Two more.
Two more? Oh, my God, in the bin. Okay, shoot. Mover and the seconder. Councillor Lachance, Councillor Laframboise.
Moved by Councillor Lachance and seconded by Councillor Laframboise that council authorize the mayor and clerk to award the tender to the highest ranked compliant bidder, conditional upon execution of the provincial funding agreement, confirmation that sufficient project funding is available, the tender being within the approved project budget, and execution of the required construction contract.
All those in favor? Carried. Mover and a seconder for the third and last one. Councillor Loftus and Councillor Potier.
Moved by Councillor Loftus and seconded by Councillor Patier that council authorize the mayor and clerk to execute the federal funding agreement for the approved grant in the amount of $152,774, together with any documents required to implement the project, provided the agreement is substantially consistent with the funding approval and does not impose additional financial obligations beyond those approved by council. Further, the council authorizes the remaining committed funding from Case Alliance in the amount of $21,456.70, and any additional municipal contribution to an offset limit of $17,000 to be funded from the Asset Management Plan Reserve Fund to satisfy the required 25% municipal contribution.
All those in favor? Carried. Okay, now that's it. All right, thank you very much. Next, the consent agenda. Are there any items that somebody wanted to have pulled? No? All right. Can I have a mover and a seconder for the consent agenda? Councillor Lachance, Councillor Potier.
Moved by Councillor LaChance and seconded by Councillor Pelletier, be it resolved that Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles approves the items of the consent agenda under sections 5.1 and 5.7. And be it further resolved that Council receives the items of the consent agenda under sections 5.2, 5.3, 5.4, 5.5, and 5.6.
All those in favor? Carried. Okay, first and now we're at the item 7.1, first and second reading of bylaws. Mover and the seconder, Councillor Loftus, Councillor Laframboise.
Moved by Councillor Loftus and seconded by Councillor Laframboise. Be it resolved that Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles hereby gives first and second reading to the following bylaw. Bylaw 2026-46 being a bylaw to establish the 2026 Municipal Elections Joint Compliance Audit Committee.
All those in favor? Carried. Mover and the seconder for third and final reading, Councillor Laframboise and Councillor Pelletier.
Moved by Councillor Laframboise and seconded by Councillor Pelletier, be it resolved the Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles hereby gives third reading to and finally passes bylaw 2026-46.
All those in favor? Carried. Next, I need mover and a seconder to approve the addendum. Councillor Lachance, Councillor Loftus.
Moved by Councillor LaChance and seconded by Councillor Loftus, be it resolved the Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles hereby approves the addendum to the August 12, 2026 regular meeting of Council.
All those in favor? Carried. Next, item 9.21, Treasurer, report the council bylaw to enter into debenture during restricted act.
Okay, so we've heard a few times today that we might potentially be in the restricted act period. We had applied for the 3 debentures for the pumper truck, the tandem truck, and the road rehabilitation. We have been approved for those debentures. They've given us a timeline of all the documents that need to be signed. Unfortunately, most of that will happen in the restricted act period if we are in one. So this bylaw is just to, again, approve everything that we're doing, so that it was approved before, so that we can enter into those contracts if we are in that restricted act period, essentially.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
And then for
No.
myself, I'm in agreement.
All right, we'll move down then to item 9.3, which is first and second reading of this bylaw. Councillor Loftus, Councillor Lachance.
Moved by Councillor Loftus and seconded by Councillor LaChance, be it resolved the Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles hereby gives first and second reading to the following bylaw. Bylaw 2026-48 being a bylaw to delegate authority to the outgoing council to pass bylaws to authorize the issue of debentures for capital works of the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles.
All those in favor? Carried. Moving to seconder for third and final reading. Councillor Pelletier, Councillor Laframboise.
Moved by Councillor Pelletier and seconded by Councillor Laframboise, be it resolved the Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles hereby gives third reading to and finally passes bylaw 2026-48.
All those in favor? Carried. Next, item 9.4.1, which was a motion by Councillor Lachance. So you are the mover. Who we have a seconder? Councillor Laframboise.
All right, so moved by Councillor LaChance and seconded by Councillor Laframboise. Whereas Sudbury East Building and Bylaw Services serves the residents of 4 member municipalities, being the municipalities of French River, Killarney, Marks de Warren, and St. Charles. And whereas the day-to-day operations of Sudbury East Building and Bylaw Services are funded through apportionment to the member municipalities and through fees charged to ratepayers for services provided. And whereas the member municipalities have limited involvement in the operational oversight and fiscal planning of Sudbury East building and bylaw services. And whereas municipal councils have a responsibility to advocate for transparency, accountability, and fiscal responsibility in the delivery of services funded by taxpayers and ratepayers. And whereas no single service provider should have sole discretion over how taxpayer and ratepayer funded dollars are allocated and spent without appropriate municipal oversight. And whereas having councillors from each member municipality sit as members of a governing board for Sudbury East building and bylaw services would provide greater representation, improve accountability, and help ensure that services are responsive to the needs of each member municipality and the broader Sudbury East service area. And whereas regular reports and recommendations from such a board would assist councils in reviewing and addressing matters relating to the Sudbury East building and bylaw services in a more consistent and streamlined manner. Now therefore be it resolved that council directs staff to circulate this resolution to the municipalities of French River, Killarney, and Marks Day Warren for their consideration and support in the creation of a governing board for Sudbury East building and bylaw services. And be it further resolved that council requests that the member municipalities work collaboratively to review and develop a proposed governance structure, terms of reference, and reporting process for the proposed board with representation from each member municipality.
Thank you. Now for discussion, you have first.
Yeah, just something that has been on the back of my mind for a while, and I feel that each municipality should have a little bit of a say in what's going on with this board. We don't have much insight or transparency for it other than the reports that are coming to us, and direction that's given to the board seems to be coming from the CEO of French River as the hierarchy. So I think we're at a point where it's all our tax dollars that are being spent here. We should have a board or at least some kind of input into the overall aspect and direction of where the board is going, instead of just having a decision brought to us that we have to vote on without having any planning.
Okay, thank you very much. Any comments or?
Councillor Lachance explained it well. I do agree. Accountability, transparency, financial insight. I think it'll give us a better idea of what we're looking at when it's brought forward.
All right, thank you. Councillor Loftus?
Yeah, I also agree that, it would be nice to have all 4 communities getting together and, instead of one person being told, each community would have, be told at the same time, and then feedback would come back to each of their communities. So I think it would be something that they could consider.
All right, thank you. Councillor Putzi?
I'm in agreement with the motion. It's kind of been discussed and brought up quite a few times now. I'm just thinking it kind of works a little bit in tandem with, because I know in the past it was brought up about the Sudbury East Planning Board. They both kind of work hand in hand. This motion essentially would be establishing a board, correct? Or
it's to establish a board, but if the member municipalities all have the same an opinion of maybe just have the Sudbury East building and planning board also oversee this, or joining, because it's a shared service from the same municipalities for both the bylaw service, building and bylaw service, and the planning board. If they wanted to encompass it and have one board govern all of it, that's fine. But this is the only part that doesn't have it, the board or governance right now, in our aspect, in our view of things, right? So, however, like the last that, and whereas councillors, municipalities will have a choice in kind of how we're going about it. That will be decided after. It's just more to implement the board. And whether it be a merger later on or so will be discussed after this original motion's passed.
Okay. You have anything you wanted to add?
Yes, just to clarify the current process. So the the CBO, the Chief Building Official, prepares the budget for SABS, and she presents to all 4 CAOs at the same time. So that's just telling you there's some structure there, but in a sense, it is what do you think council is going to, and not council looking at it. I understand the purpose of a board, but the current structure is like a loosely formed CAO group reviewing before it goes to council. So there's some structure, but not a governance structure.
Okay.
Just wanted to make that clear, that there is something.
All right, thank you. And from this, it's basically direction to staff to start looking at it, discussing it, and trying to see if they can work something out.
And again, the CBO was going to stay, but because it was at the end of the day, she didn't stay. She did tell me that she had talked with some of the neighboring municipality about your motions, so there's already she's already talking with them. So just letting you know that
Okay,
the word's out there.
all right. So if that is all, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, thank you very much. 9.5, motion to adjourn, so mover and a seconder, Councillor Loftus, Councillor Laframboise, just adjourn the addendum.
Moved by Councillor Loftus and seconded by Councillor Laframboise, be it resolved that Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles hereby adjourns the addendum and returns to the August 12, 2026 regular meeting of council.
All right. Next, item,
Carried? Carried?
all those in favor? Carried. Sorry about that. I get antsy at this part.
10?
12.1, confirmation bylaw, mover and a seconder, first and second reading. Councillor Lachance, Councillor Laframboise.
Moved by Councillor Lachance and seconded by Councillor Laframboise. Be it resolved that Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles hereby gives first and second reading to the following bylaw. Bylaw 2026-47, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its special meeting of council held July 23rd, 2026, and at its regular meeting of council held August 12th, 2026.
All those in favor? Carried. Mover and a seconder for third and final reading. Councillor Potier, Councillor Loftus.
Moved by Councillor Potier and seconded by Councillor Loftus, be it resolved that Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles hereby gives third reading to and finally passes bylaw 2026-47.
All those in favor? Carried. And finally, resolution to adjourn, mover and a seconder. Councillor Laframboise, Councillor Loftus.
Moved by Councillor Laframboise and seconded by Councillor Loftus, be it resolved that the regular meeting of council of August 12, 2026 be adjourned at 8:57 p.m.
All those in favor? Carried. Meeting is adjourned.